Everybody has that?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions initially on that before we start with, back again with the streets supervisor?
And sorry about that, Scott.
Well, that's all right.
We missed you on two things.
Any other questions first?
I
before?
end up watching the rest of it.
Got it.
I mean, I think I'm gonna have a couple after we get done with this, before we get further with him, but, anyhow, so where do you wanna start here? We had, that was,
We're looking at distribution,
that was the next section, I believe.
3 underwater.
Yeah,
3 underwater, okay. Yep.
water distribution, there it is. Well, I think we'll start at that end. John, you had questions, I know you did, thoughts on distribution last time before we left.
Yeah, I guess the budget from the previous year to the proposed budget, the personnel line increased quite dramatically. Are there more personnel now? Or,
I think it's, yeah, there are, and I think it's where we, you know what I mean, the more water problems we have, like that goes toward personnel. We did hire a couple more laborers, and one of them does water
okay.
a lot, so there's more in personnel there, for sure.
So I guess the DPW personnel budget is broken down by department, right?
Yes.
Okay.
As of current, it's 202,000 that you've used, but you're looking at 306 is budgeted. So that's, that's why we're looking at it, because it's
Yeah.
$104,000 higher than what you've gone through and 50,000 more than what you were attributed last year.
Yeah, I don't know exactly why.
There's 3 additional, right? 3 new full-timers?
Yeah, did we put them all in water?
It just gets divided.
Divided up, yeah. So, I mean, we hired some new guys, and I guess the way that it got divided up, that's why that increase is there.
Okay.
Overtime. Down a little bit.
Anything else, John?
You know, the request for overtime was 35, and the mayor's budget was 25.
That's supplies.
That's supplies.
Yeah, overtime. I
Oh, I'm
think is-
sorry.
Overtime
Yeah.
is-
Oh, no, I meant supplies. Is that, will that cover it, or are we gonna have to do a transfer of funds at some point?
It's just gonna depend. I mean, if we have water breaks, then I gotta buy more pipe, more
Okay.
fittings, more, sleeves, so it's,
Right.
you
Yeah.
really don't know.
And I guess, if you look at, currently, you're at like 12,000. I don't know if money was transferred out of that line at one point or not, but that seems pretty low.
Can I ask what the contractual part on that is?
So contractual would be like, and you can maybe back
it's-
me up on this, Will, so it's like if we have an emergency job and I have to hire a contractor to come in, and do the repair, it's something, out of our,
So I see a bump, it was bumped up 5,000. Can we bring that back to what it was the previous year at 15?
I think so.
Okay, so we're gonna take 5,000 out of that contractual, and we're gonna bring it down.
I mean, it's one of those things that, I don't know what's gonna happen, I can't predict.
No.
But I try to do as much as we can
I mean,
in-house.
I see that this year you did use most of that already. But of the 15.
Yeah.
Right.
So, which makes me believe we shouldn't be too awful bad.
I think so.
To stay in the
Yeah.
same neighborhood.
Right.
So we're gonna take that 5,000 out of there?
Yep.
The trustees agree? Yeah,
I think that sounds good to me.
okay.
What
Yes.
about-
Yeah.
That's 5,000. Okay. Okay. And the next one would be the sewer lines, right? Is that- Sewer lines. Not the plant, but the lines.
What page is the sewer?
It's right after water.
Water?
As far as, well, I guess we can talk about that with the plant when we talk about the revenues. His end is the
Sanitary.
sanitary area, yeah. Mhm. Again, personnel overtime is up a lot. And that,
Oh, I think that's the same as the water distribution. I mean, it's just more, we hired new employees.
but if shouldn't because you have more employees, have less overtime? I mean, the point of having more employees is so you won't have as much overtime, not to have increased overtime.
Yeah, but I think it's just, I mean, you already have your personnel there, that's a set cost, and then when overtime comes in, you know, it's not scheduled overtime. It's an emergency situation overtime with a backed up sewer, we have to come in and, you know, fix it.
Well, I think where the confusion comes in is, the budget last year was 5,000 less than
Yeah.
the proposed budget this year, and you've used less than $500 up to date, or as the 15th of March.
Right.
So the 78 just seems like a,
I mean,
In
I
other
would,
words, you've done a good time with overtime
Yeah.
in this portion. Do we need to allocate so much money towards it?
I mean, I would propose.
It's an emergency situation.
Take out at least 2,000 out of that, if not more. I mean, you said it is,
I would say
It's
take it
five-
down to
it's-
5,000.
it is 5,000 over. So if you went down, so you want 2,880 out?
If that's, yeah.
I mean, considering,
considering where he's at 483. Yeah, make it an even 5,000?
yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So it's gonna be down to an even 5,000.
Is that gonna be enough for gas, Scott?
You know, I know why that overtime was high for that, now that I'm thinking back. With the pump stations, we had a lot of problems last spring with them.
Oh, okay, so you were budgeting,
And we're budgeted to upgrade those pump stations, so hopefully that fixes that
okay.
problem.
Well, you didn't use very much last year, though, so obviously you did a good job with it last year, or in this last year.
Yeah.
Well, they were
Yeah.
having so many issues that they said,
Before,
well, we
yeah.
better, yeah,
Right.
Yeah, I'm
better
just,
add to that.
okay.
Is there anything in the capital line on those sewer? And, of course, I think we did talk about some of that's the water lines, right?
We did go over his capital, even for water and sewer.
The sewer too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I don't think there's anything in there for sewer.
some pump station upgrades.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday.
Yeah.
We really don't have too many major sewer issues other than general maintenance on it.
No?
Yeah, we were leaving the 10,000 for the pump station upgrades, and
Yep.
then we eliminated the manhole cover.
Right.
Yeah, we did that.
So we did.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Is that it for water and sewer
With
with
the
that?
papers.
Yep.
Can we,
I
sanitary?
keep hitting it.
Yeah.
Can we go back to, while you're here, go back to the CHIPS funding? It's my understanding that, what is, oil and stone stuff
Right.
can be included, it can be, it is part of the CHIPS.
Yes and no. You can't touch that road for 10 years if you use chips for oil and stone.
I think it's 8 years, isn't it?
10. It's 10.
now 10?
Yeah, I know that program pretty well. It really,
Yeah, I mean, I just wondering because, you know, but it can be used for that as long as you don't do it again for 10
So
years.
what I did last
Because I know
year,
it's been done that way before. It has been, we have utilized it in that way before.
right, so what I did last year when I came in, I didn't have any oil and stone budget. I went and looked at every road that we've done in this village, and every road that has not been touched in 10 years, I oil and stoned with CHIPS money. Now I don't have, I think there's like 2 roads left, you know, after, that are 10 years old now, that haven't been touched with CHIPS.
Okay.
So there would only be 2 roads I could do with oil and stone with CHIPS money. That's why we've never used CHIPS money really toward oil and stone.
Well, if you're, I mean, well, you know, actually they have, but but I'm just, as far as, so you did those ones with CHIPS money, so there's only 2 more, you said that.
Well, yeah, because it's a year later now, so you know what I mean? Last year I did every road that hasn't been touched in 10 years. This year only 2 new roads pop up that haven't been done.
Well, that's
past time.
fine, so then you won't need that whole $60,000 then.
60, I think I put in for like 105.
He put 105
The
in
mayor
there
brought it
for
down to
that.
60.
Oh, did he?
But, so really, if you're gonna do, if you're only gonna be doing 2 roads with the CHIPS, then, you know, it's.
I wasn't gonna use any of the CHIPS money toward oil and stone. I'm gonna put that all into paving. I'm trying to do a paving project between Castile Heights, Risley Street, and Central Avenue. Whatever money I have in CHIPS, I'm putting toward that.
The CHIPS Road program, the mayor had it as a grant for $250,000, it looks like.
No, that's not a grant, that's the money that comes
You
in.
get it every year.
Okay, yes.
Yes.
And he's
Yeah.
got 60,000 for road maintenance, and I don't know if that's a
Right,
different.
well, that's what I'm talking
program.
about, is that road
Yeah.
maintenance, and what he meant by road maintenance is the oil and stone.
Right.
For 60, he had it at 105 oil and stone, the mayor brought it down to 60,000.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, we could even, in my opinion, we could take that 60,000 out, because he's only got a couple roads he's gonna oil and stone anyhow.
Oh, there's a lot I want on oil and stone.
Yeah, I think there's more than just those
I mean-
2 roads that need it.
I looked back in the prior budgets, back in 2006, we were doing like $110,000 worth of oil and stoning, and the oil was half the price. Now it's twice the cost, and we're doing half the roads. So it's important to do. I mean, if that's what you decide on, that's fine. I mean, you know,
But if we don't do it, it just leads to,
bigger problems down the
Bigger
road. And we have to
problems
preserve
later,
the
yeah.
roads we have, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have some decent roads, and
Yeah.
oil and stone's the best way to
We've
preserve
got some
those.
bad stuff we do need to go over. A couple bad roads.
We got some real bad ones. Those ones, I want to mill and pave, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think even if he's just gonna take 2 roads and use CHIPS money for that, I feel like trying to chip away then at that $60,000 for 2 roads is kind of,
Yeah. I think I put in there, so for 100,000 last year, I think I did 5 miles of road. Yeah, 5 miles for 105,000. So if you take a little more than half, that you're gonna be 2.5 miles of road. I mean, that's not very many streets.
and the
Right.
price has probably gone up
The
since
price has
last
gone way
year.
up, yeah.
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 I think that 60, we just
Yeah.
have to leave as it is.
And even at that, you're.
Right, we're
you're a
probably not
little
gonna
bit
get very
done,
far.
I mean, you know, so.
So if you only used 100,000, then you had 150,000 left over? Because every year we get 250?
Yeah, we rolled over, it changes every year, and it's not just CHIPS, it's New York Pave and, what's the other one, ERW.
Yeah.
So then how much did we
So how much money
actually-
was-
That's combined, that whole
How-
thing, the 250.
How much was our actual allotment this year, and how much did we roll over?
Yeah.
I don't
Well, they
know.
didn't pay anything out last year.
Oh, nothing came in?
No,
From
because
CHIPS.
the state wasn't paying anything. So actually, all of our stuff from last year and this year, we just received. And we received about 140,000. So this 250 is about what we should have left after that 140.
And I want to pave with that 250, mill and pave.
So,
That makes sense.
It's a very tricky program. The CHIPS book's about 30 pages long, and if you wanted to read over it, I mean, it's hard for me to explain exactly. The village is always, allocated money for oil and stone every year, like at least $80,000. I went and looked through the old budgets, and for the last 20 years, we've always done that. We've never used CHIPS money toward oil and stone. The only reason I did last year is because I didn't have any budget to work with. When I took over, I was given this is what you have. It wasn't mine.
Wasn't there money left over from the previous year then? No.
Yeah, but there wasn't really enough to do anything. Nothing was budgeted for it, for oil and stone.
Last year, you mean?
Correct. Yeah. And we didn't oil and stone at all the year prior to that. So I'm just trying to play catch up.
Yeah, we don't want to play catch up. We want to be out of this.
No, it's your cheapest road way to maintain a road.
Yeah.
Fills in the cracks and seals it up, and I would love to go mill and pave every road in the village, but it would be millions
When was
of
the last
dollars.
time Central Avenue was paved?
The lower section was.
3 years ago, it was done from
But the-
Cottage, it was a Cottage or Forbes down to the village line. And
Do
then
you
it's-
have that on at all?
What's that? That's that.
Central Avenue.
I'm waiting for prices back. Like I said, I had a contractor look at 3 roads, and I'm
Okay.
going to kind of go from there and gauge it, you know.
So
Yeah.
you said part of Central, Castile Heights and Grizzly?
Risley Street needs to be mill and paved, yeah.
Yeah.
Castile Heights is terrible. It's heaved up over the gutter in spots, and it needs to be milled down and paved. So those are my top priorities to pave. But in the meantime, you still got to preserve what we have by oiling and stoning it.
Right.
And there's 2 roads that have to be done because they haven't been done in 10 years.
Well, there's probably more than that.
But
There's tons of roads that need to be
Yeah.
done. The only
But
reason
this-
I did those roads last year was because that's what hadn't been done in 10 years, and that's what
Okay.
qualified for CHIPS.
Yep.
Okay.
And I don't see cutting any of this money.
You know,
It's up to you guys. I mean,
I would
I'm only
strongly-
one-
I
I'm
don't
only
see cutting
one.
it.
Yeah, I don't either.
No.
The other thought was I know you were asking for a computerized salt spreader. And I know you tried to give an explanation of why. But if you're putting a salt spreader on a vehicle that's in good shape, when you talked about putting it on the back of a plow, of course, there's also a cost for installation. But yes, what the salt does to a vehicle is pretty bad. It destroys, even though
What it does
the
to
salt-
everything is
the
pretty
salt
bad,
bin,
yeah.
the salt bin itself is stainless, but the truck is not. And
Yeah,
so,
the boxes are stainless, yeah. Well, either way, continue.
but anyhow, and you mentioned the cost, even to the point of per round, how much it costs to the difference between one spreader compared to the other. We talked about that, and it didn't seem to actually add up to what the cost, overall cost is going to be for that thing over the next few years at least. Anyhow, I'd like to be able to wait on that if we can. I know it doesn't. You have one computerized one and the other one's not. So I mean, you could try to mainly use the one that is when necessary, and if you have to put them both out, it's really not that much more expensive compared to the cost of what this other equipment would be.
Well, my whole plan there is I want to put a salt spreader in another plow truck so I can always have 2 plow trucks running around the clock, like I explained the other day. I don't have a salter in that new plow truck.
Are you
That's
talking
I know you
about,
don't. Yeah, I know, but we have 3 plow trucks and 2 salt trucks, right?
Correct.
Currently, and you want to have another salter on one of the plow trucks,
Yes.
and
That's going to eliminate one of
That'll
those
eliminate
trucks,
one.
a driver, a whole nother set of diesel, and a whole nother truck being driven around. So plus,
But
it's
we
going to
have-
meter the salt, which has gone up in price.
if you're going to do that, I mean, why don't you just eliminate one of those other trucks and move the current salter over?
I am doing that. I'm moving one salter into a plow truck that doesn't have one. I still have another plow truck without a salter in it. I need to buy one for that truck.
Well, I mean, the other one is still usable, is what I'm saying.
It won't work out the way my whole plan wants, that I want to do everything if I don't get that salter.
Was it
Well,
was it
but
true
there's
when you
expense
said
to
that if it's computerized, it
There's-
uses less
Yeah,
salt,
it-
correct? And
it's-
what's the price of salt compared to what it was last year? Would you say?
It usually goes up 5%, 8%.
So we can expect the same thing next
Yeah.
year.
And the
So
year after, and the year after, and the year after.
so
And
how much
everybody-
would that work out to be a year?
I would have
This
to
thing
run the
is
numbers on
huge
that,
from what
but
I-
everybody uses
This is-
computerized.
this is
So
huge.
everybody, like, it's the biggest expense in the winter is salt.
Right, so anywhere that we can
Yeah.
save on salt, I think is gonna be beneficial.
And it's gonna save on the roads getting oversalted, sidewalks
Exactly.
getting oversalted,
Yes.
which is gonna help maintenance
Yeah.
down the road on that stuff.
It's
Well,
one of the most important
I mean,
things
we've-
in that budget, is the
We've
getting
been
that.
using that for a long time, and it's,
And it's worked.
But just because we've been doing it doesn't mean it's right. I mean, it's,
well, and is
Well,
it
it's
is it
worked.
that much? It's worked, and we were talking, you know, it's easy to say I want, and we're talking about if this is not our money, this is the community, this is the people's money.
I get
I
this,
understand that.
but if we're going through 10% more salt, plus putting 10% more salt into the roads, which is causing more degradation of the roads at whatever percentage, you're spending money here to save money here. It's not a, it doesn't make sense, it's dollar wise and pound foolish or whatever they say, it doesn't make any sense to,
Right.
you're saving a nickel to kill a dollar, basically,
But there's
in my
always-
opinion.
You may be spreading the cost out for a longer length of time, but the fact of the matter is how much money do we have right now to pay for it? And yes, it may cost you a little bit over, you may look at it next year, you know, to see if that fits in the budget, with all these other things that we're looking at buying. We can't buy everything, and I know it's hard to say no.
Yeah,
Well, you know,
And
I would,
the
I'm sorry.
ones, I mean, they still function, and if it spends a few more dollars, even though compared to the overall cost of the lump sum that we'd have to pay out, where is that money gonna come from?
I mean, we're at a 3% right now increase in taxes. We've already cut off $100,000 or something from this budget. I think an 11% economy, you know, with inflation, to ask the people to pay $20 more to have a better salt system and better for the environment and better for the system in general makes more sense than it does to cut it out.
Are we talking about the one that's a combination of a dump truck, plow, and salter?
right,
Is that what you want to buy?
yes.
Those things are huge, though. You can't use those on side streets,
No,
right?
no, we're
No,
talking about the
just-
salt
no,
spreader
just
with
the
the
salt
computer.
spreader
on
Just
the
the
back.
spreader to set in something
Okay.
we currently have.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna save the village money, it's gonna save them money in time, it's gonna save in fuel and in salt, like, across the line. Every other municipality maybe the world does it.
And
I
it's
mean,
gonna save money on
It's an
corrosion
antiquated.
on the roads and everything else that the salt goes on.
Yeah.
We're looking at, it's gonna reduce the amount of salt that hits the roads, which is gonna also help our vehicles in the village not get as much salt.
How is it operated right now, then, if there's no
Just a
computer?
manual, you just turn
Do
it
you
on, and it
just
just
turn-
spreads salt freely, that's why you see like piles of
And
salt.
isn't there any way to reduce the flow on that? I mean, isn't there, I mean, it seems.
Sure there is, but,
Well,
it's just,
Then wouldn't you do that, instead of just open it wide open and let
then you're
it
gonna
flow?
have to, when you go a little faster, you're gonna have to manually turn it up and when you
Wow,
slow it
that's
down.
difficult. I don't know. Manually doing something is difficult.
Well, I mean, when it's a whiteout and you're trying to
when
keep
you're-
your truck on the
You
road and
know,
now you
it's-
also.
I've done this for a long
I
time.
don't
I've
know.
done this for a long
Even
time.
if he has it set at a half of a whatever it's set at, when he stops at that light, that truck is still pouring out salt. Salt shoots out of the back of the thing, then he drives off and you get a big pile of salt at every stop sign, every light that he stops at.
I don't
There's
see
no-
that throughout the village. I've never seen that throughout the village.
There are some spots that.
There's spots.
Rarely.
I tell you right now that I have one
I
truck
mean,
that's
do I drive over a
computerized
mound
and
of
one
salt?
that's
No.
manual. And it's about 1.5 to 2 ton per round. It uses more salt, so that's a lot of salt throughout the year.
So are you, I was just gonna ask you that. So if you look at truck to truck, the manual versus the computerized spreading, how much more salt, you know, twice, 3 times, how much more salt is that manual truck
Yeah,
using
about
than the computer?
30% more.
About 30% more.
Yeah. like, I'm just trying to help the village save money and get better, you know,
It's
service.
more
here. I'm not-
efficient.
Well,
It's
that's
way
what we're
more
all here
efficient.
for. We're all
Yeah,
here to make the
absolutely.
village. I mean,
Right.
that's not that you're right or wrong. It's that can the village afford to do this?
Well, why don't we-
And is it reasonable to ask the taxpayers to come up with this money?
Yes,
Yes,
yes, it is.
yes, it is.
I
Yes.
believe that it is. I
You
believe,
got three now. That's
That's
Yeah.
three, so
I'm not gonna
let's
go
not
against
beat.
them.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've made my point and
Sure.
you
Yeah.
guys made yours, so
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it's,
if that's where you're at, that's where we're at.
Sounds good.
Okay, that's fine. That's how this
Yeah,
works.
yeah,
That's how
no,
this
yeah.
works.
I think it's a great idea. I think you're gonna really.
Just like
see
a real
difference in-
republic.
Yeah, darn, isn't that something?
Weird.
Don't let our secret out.
You don't.
Can we fist fight real quick about it if we have to, just make it feel like the old times or whatever?
No.
Oh, jeez.
All right.
Anything else?
I guess I've
that's it.
talked about everything else. Alyssa, is there anything else in his lines that we didn't have?
no, there's not.
Um,
All right, we got them all this
Hey.
time?
Yes, we got
For
it.
real?
That wasn't too awful.
Yeah, come
That
back
wasn't too
tomorrow.
awful bad.
Did we talk about those pickup trucks?
Yeah. No, I think we did, didn't we?
We did. We really need those.
Yeah. We'll see.
It's a good price on them. I called Jamestown the other day. They said they don't have them, but they'll hold that
We got-
price for till June. But after that, it's going up.
Well, you know, I know.
I know. I just thought.
I know.
I think we budgeted
Everything,
to do
everything goes up in
Everything
this
goes
Did you do
world.
one?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think,
yeah,
We
you're
budgeted
getting
one, so.
we budgeted one, not
We
both of them.
budgeted one,
Yeah,
right.
one pickup,
One's better than
the
none.
salt spreader with the computer, and your 60 for road maintenance.
The chipper too. I thought.
That's in the
Yeah.
funding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the potential to, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
The potential to get the chipper.
Yes.
It's not,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not necessarily, I mean, it's there because it's a, it would be
'Cause it's a bond, but
bonded for 10 years, which, you know, we can't rely on somebody else's forever.
Right. Yeah, we did talk about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's on the table. It'll be in there if we decide we can make the bond work for it.
Okay, and that's available too. They do have one right in Albany, so
Right.
we wouldn't be waiting a year to get it. You know.
okay.
I guess that's wonderful. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you,
Okay,
Scott.
thanks.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank
Have a good
you.
night.
So we're in code enforcement
I'll eat yours.
and his office.
I like it for my tummy then.
I don't even
Go
know.
back to my original report. Chuck's department has revenues.
Sure does.
Yeah, Chuck, we like to
Yeah,
see
tell you what,
that,
that revenue's gonna be dropped unless we get some help.
unless you get help, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did almost 90,000 this year.
That's good.
Great.
Okay.
I guess we don't have any complaints there. And, okay, so he's got zoning and planning and, Let's see
They
what-
do it all.
Zoning, planning.
Did you guys have any, who wants to start?
Well, I guess I would, my first question would be, up to this point, you're at about 77,000 personnel,
Yep.
and you had requested 117.
That was before I knew I was gonna lose an inspector. I was
Okay.
trying to get his salary up to where it's more comfortable with assistant building inspector.
Okay,
Okay.
And that was, I think, I was trying to go for 51,
okay,
is what the union would have projected in that step of the union contract.
okay.
But,
So then the mayor's budget was 97. Is that with the knowledge that of the current employees you have now?
no, that's still not, I don't think it is. 'Cause I think he knew at that time that Steve was leaving, so he might have dropped it from the 117 down.
Is that right, Alyssa?
He dropped it,
19,000, he took out 19,009.
dropped Kathy from full-time back to part-time.
Oh, yeah, I had Kathy full-time.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
Same as last year's.
I pretty much didn't go up
Same as
anywhere
last
other
year.
than
No.
personnel.
Yeah, it's the same as
Yeah.
last year's.
Yeah.
Everything's
Right.
staying
Right.
staying
Yeah.
about the same.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Stayed
so I
the
guess
same.
that's contractual. We've got, we've used $1,500 up to this year, but we've got 15,000 budgeted.
No, what that is for planning, what
Yeah.
that is because we're doing a master plan, comprehensive plan. And what I started doing was throwing money into that. Do you want to hold the whole story?
how about the abridged version?
What I've been doing is trying to throw money into the planning budget so that when we hired a consultant or when we needed to throw money at Pomfret, because now Pomfret's actually doing the master plan with us, our share would be there. You wouldn't have to, scratch your heads looking for the money. So that's why I've been going up every year. I typically don't touch it. I touched a little bit this year. I don't know what it was for. But I took maybe a couple thousand out of that this year for something. But typically, I just leave that alone, just let it grow. This way, when Pomfret calls us for money, because they've already been working on the master plan or comprehensive plan,
Okay.
it'll be there so that you guys don't have to budget for it or anything.
Okay. Won't be a surprise.
That's fine.
Because they'll send us a bill for $100,000, because they'll not know we're gonna get this, in the middle of the year, where are we gonna get
Right.
this from?
Yeah.
So this way,
Yeah.
part of it's there, and
You'll have some.
it's just good planning on my part.
I don't have any other questions for him.
No, I don't. I'm good.
It's the same as last year, essentially. So-
Yeah.
Well, no, last year was 12, and this year I put in for 3 more. I didn't
No,
want to.
I meant overall your budget.
Yeah.
Overall,
Oh, my budget,
yeah.
yeah, I haven't gone up
Your
much
budget.
anything, because I really
Yeah,
was
overall,
hoping
you're
to
pretty
get,
much the same.
yeah, I just was hoping to get more money thrown in the personnel and, get, like I said, get Kathy full-time.
Did
get
you want
Steve.
Kathy full-time?
I do, yeah, right now I do, yeah, with training,
Yeah.
with another guy that's gonna
Right.
be training, the new hiree.
Right.
If we hire him, he's gonna have a lot of training that he has to do. So
How
I wanna
much
make
more
sure
would
that I have
that
money in the
be?
budget for
That's
that.
that 20,000.
So he'll be gone, once
20,000.
he gets into the code courses,
Gotcha.
he'll be gone,
Okay.
quite a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know there's some stuff coming up that I'm gonna, have him do, online stuff. So it's just, Kathy's good at what she does. I'm finding, the problem was Steve was the type of guy that if he handled something, he wanted to handle it from start to finish. So the girls, the secretaries only did work with me, posting, mailing, certain stuff they would do, but when he did a zoning case, it was from start to finish. When he did a rental inspection, he did his own, he scheduled his own inspections. He went out, he did them, he wrote them up. So we didn't need a lot of people, 3 hours, just not answer phones and stuff so that we didn't have to. Now, she's inundated because he's taken all her work plus what she's done and threw it at her. And that's a lot of work,
Yeah.
that he did, because,
I
that,
thought she didn't want to be full-time.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
I don't
not
know.
that she doesn't, that may be, but there's also issue with union and civil service.
Well, she took-
It's not just,
She took a civil service?
it's not just us budgeting the money for it. It's
Well,
a
not only-
multi-level.
it's not
Oh,
only-
absolutely,
It's not only the
absolutely.
wages, it's also if you go to full-time, not, yeah, all those things, but there's
Everything
also
else.
all the, there's all the benefits and everything else.
Yep.
From what I understand, we can hire her now at full-time because there's no list. And then she has to be on the list when it comes out, and she just took the test again Saturday. She was on the list the first time, but it expired because she wasn't accepting any of the letters, the canvas letters she was sending, and she didn't know that she had let the county know that she still was interested, she just didn't want that position. So,
So are you saying we might lose her? I mean, it almost sounds like if she's getting letters for other jobs.
yeah, well, she has gotten job
Yeah.
In the
letters
civil
from
service,
some-
you always get, every opening that
Right.
opens up, you get
Yeah,
the
you get a
letter.
letter. yeah.
Right.
It's not necessarily the municipality contacting her, it just says that
Yeah.
there's an opening.
I know,
Right.
but I'm saying that you wouldn't want to lose her. She knows what's going on.
Well, and listen, I mean, she told me
That's-
before that she didn't want to be full-time, but, I mean.
That was a long time ago, I think, but I think now, because of the duties and stuff, I think she was looking for more full-time for a few years.
Well, now, what about, and if we're gonna be, we have to replace Steve, because he's already, resigned. So,
I see you have a name down there, too.
wouldn't
Yeah.
We
he
got any?
fill those duties? I mean, I just, it's not like.
You're throwing a person that's relatively green into a position, and I need to go right away to start doing inspections and complaints. You guys, guys want us to check every house for violations. I can't do that. I've got 4 sets of plans sitting on my desk right now that the contractors are waiting for permits.
So there's obviously gonna be a period of time when the new guy's getting up to speed. And I think instead of hiring somebody full-time, and then once that guy's up to speed, then you don't need to be full-time.
Right.
You're almost better off paying overtime for a couple of months than you are hiring a full-time guy, if that guy's gonna be at school or whatever, and training with you all the time, and if she's the only one there, I would rather,
You'd rather pay her
Can-
full-time?
Can we pay her some?
Can we do that?
I don't
I don't think we can pay her
I
overtime.
don't
can't
think we
pay her
could do
overtime?
that.
She has a
cannot.
limit,
Right.
she has a
Work
limited amount of
certain-
hours.
She's
Oh.
got to work a certain amount of
That's it.
hours.
She only works
Yeah,
3.5
that's
hours
what I
a
thought.
day.
Yeah, she's
3.5 a
capped.
day?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I'm
what
supposed
her
to work-
limit is.
yeah.
I'm supposed to work 4 hours a day. This week, today I've been here 12 hours. I'm working about 40 hours a week right now, just since Steve left. And even when Steve was gone, I'd still come in at 8 o'clock in the morning and work till 2:30. You don't pay me for it, and that's fine, I don't mind it, I just need to get the job done. I like what I do.
I'd rather give Kathy a full-time job, because if we have somebody green coming in,
It's gonna be a lot more money.
But
And then those
what are you
issues
gonna
that you were
do?
just saying, whether there's gonna be
you
issues.
can't pay her overtime. I mean,
Well,
If the new guy doesn't
How
know
else can
typing
you
and doesn't
do
do his
it?
own letters and stuff, see, Steve did all his own work. I can't expect a new guy coming in brand new, has to
Right.
know law, has to
That's
go out
what
and do
I'm thinking.
inspections, has to do violations,
Yeah.
complaints, and everything else to do his own work. It's unheard of. I mean, I do my own
Yeah.
work 99% of the time, but there's things that I just need Kathy for too.
Mm-hmm.
But the position always was full-time, with 2 other full-time inspectors.
you're right.
So I don't know how we
Yeah.
lost, so
So
much help in
many.
so many hours.
Yeah.
I mean, when Larry and John were here, you had a full-time secretary since 1980.
Right.
And I went through every single year. Then Steve was hired as a full-time clerk. And then when he chose interest in coming into the other side of our department, the building part of it, that's when that all started. They went to a part-time clerk, and I don't know why, I think what I think might have happened was, I think Mayor Landis was just putting somebody up there part-time to weather the storm to help us out, and it ended up being a full-time or a part-time position forever. I think that's how it kind of went. But technically, that position was always full-time, so, and we
I
do a
think
lot
I'd
more
feel
work
more
now.
comfortable with a full-time, making her full-time.
We bring in double
especially-
the revenue that they did in the other
That would pay
department,
for itself,
previous
wouldn't it?
department heads.
Yeah.
We have a lot more responsibilities,
Uh-huh.
so. And you're training a new guy, and that new guy's not gonna take right off and know what he's doing, for a couple of years. I mean, by the time he gets the certifications and stuff, You know, it's gonna take a while to really get his feel. We do a lot of different things, you know. Steve never did any building. He just did all the fire inspections, the rental inspections, which was almost a full-time job. Then he would canvass the village for violations, you know, try to cut, you know, make sure contractors were getting permits and stuff, checking for violations, especially in the summertime when spring hits. You know, you got grass growing and, you know, people aren't cutting their grass and stuff, so those are all violations. He was always going, but the guy never took a break. The guy was one of those employees that from the time he came in, he didn't talk.
He was
He,
good.
you know, he took his pen and pencil, went out, scheduled his own inspections, and he'd book himself up all day. Will we ever find somebody like that? I don't
Wow.
know, you know?
And we're looking for you to start now policing trash in people's yards and that kind of stuff as well, so.
Oh, this is the time now to get out there and start, you know, looking
Yeah.
for stuff, because the
Right.
village, you know, doesn't look that great right now, but, you know, before the trees all grow over it and you don't see it anymore from the road, now's the time to get out there. You know, just this week, I sent out 4 or 5 violations just this week. And I'm not even out there that much. I'm just going out, maybe do an inspection. I'm saying, oh God, here's the violation.
Yeah.
I better get it. So, or, you know, the trustees will call me and tell me
Right.
about a place, and I'll go out and look at it, you know?
No, if we're gonna consider moving here to full-time, I'd like to see what the total cost of that would be.
23,000.
Oh, okay.
That's
There you
including
go.
That was
potential
quick.
benefit package?
That's all, but yeah, that's everything.
23
I think she's at
additional.
17 now, right?
Yeah.
I think she's at 17 now, so you're only asking for a few more thousand. So, and then it doesn't stress her out trying to get everything done in 3 hours,
Yeah.
and
Well,
that's the
right.
problem, is it's stressing her
23,000
out.
additional.
23 additional.
23 additional.
23
yes.
additional on
That's
top
what
of
I was
that
gonna say.
17.
It seemed
After, with all the
awful
benefits,
Oh.
it's 23 additional. Okay,
above what she's getting now.
right.
So that would,
I think it would be worth it.
that would adjust
I
the,
don't know what
back to
anyone
this, a few thousand more than what the mayor had removed.
Yeah, it would bring it closer to 120, Right.
Yeah, yeah, that line would be about 120.
120. I,
Don't you
I
think?
think they need,
Really?
they need the
They're
help.
gonna need help.
Yeah.
I mean,
We're a
you
busy
know, she
department.
knows.
Yeah.
We
I
don't
mean-
really slack and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't come in and see us really ever just sitting around doing
Right.
nothing. We really are kind of hustling to get stuff done. We have to, because if not, then you
And
guys
it's
are the
gonna be the
complaints
busy
that
time now
people aren't
coming
getting their
up.
permits and
I'm,
stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a yes,
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good.
okay.
You are too?
Yes.
Even with all
Uh-huh.
the
And Michelle?
civil service
Yes,
and union
I would
issues?
say yes.
I mean, just because we budget the money doesn't mean that it's,
It's gonna happen.
yeah, it's
but
gonna happen.
because
So
she's-
at
she's
least we'll
gotta-
budget the money, see where
We could
we're at
budget
with
and
civil
see.
service,
Right.
union, her wants, wishes, and
She just
go
took
from
the
there.
test, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at least then
So-
the money's there if we
Right,
decide to move forward.
Right.
Where are we with this?
I mean, the caveat is, and
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to the personnel trustees, and I don't know if you want to talk about it now.
Mm-hmm.
If we could go off TV for a minute and go in executive session for like 2 seconds, I don't mind doing it. I want to do
Well,
it.
we
I don't know,
we
we
don't
can
need to
do
go into it
that.
that much right
No,
now.
we
We
can't
can't
do
do
that.
that, yeah.
So, But
Yeah.
they can
That,
talk about it.
that discussion can happen after even
Okay.
Monday.
Right.
An
We could
increase
talk
in
about
revenue is most likely to occur by what we're doing by putting her in there, so.
Oh, absolutely. Plus,
Yeah.
when I'm not there, she has enough knowledge to train the next
Exactly.
person that's taking over for
Right.
Steve.
Yeah,
So she knows enough that she can help out, and she got the computers down where,
right.
you know, if he can't figure out the computers and stuff.
We're good, you don't have to keep selling.
Yeah.
I'm a salesman.
We're good, we're good.
yeah.
We're
Just
yay.
go look at the trophy on my wall.
Where are we at? How much did we take out?
So, is that it?
I'm
think
good
so.
with you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
That sounds good.
Thank
you,
Thanks,
sir.
Chuck.
I think, for the betterment of the village, a 2 or 3 or 4%.
Yeah,
I think
Well,
if we look at the long haul, for 7 years, taxes have gone up 1.4%.
right.
The cost of living has gone up probably 15%. So I think the trustees and the mayor have kept things as flat as possible. And even at a 3.4% increase,
Yeah.
Alyssa and I figured.
It's like
that
$24 extra a year.
Your average homeowner would
Yeah.
pay about $2 a month,
Right,
you know, and ask them to go fill up their car with gas. You know,
right.
look at the gas we're buying. I understand what you're saying, Jim, and I know it's over a period of years. I get that. I understand that.
I know that
I do.
bothers you,
Well,
but,
it's not over a period of years that really, it's staying within your budget that year, it doesn't matter what happened X amount of years ago.
But
But
we
it's
can't keep,
inflation,
we
too.
can't keep
It's
staying
not
at the flat
sustainable.
budget forever.
everything
We
has to
can't
go
do it.
up. The gas
Yeah.
goes up, I mean,
I mean, how much were those, with the chlorine going up? What percentage was
yeah,
that?
3 times was
I
it?
mean,
Yeah.
you
If I
can
could just
because
be-
purchases, I mean, we make purchases and things get paid off, expenses, I mean, when, I asked Melissa about that, there was a expense.
I fixed that. The
And how
bond,
much, the bond, how much difference did
it
that make?
actually almost balanced out because you paid a little bit more on the principal and a little bit less on the interest.
Also, the actual layout for the year didn't change much.
Right.
Okay. So, but as far as things go, I mean, we're asking for a lot of increases.
But we're also taking a lot of decreases. I mean, we're basically going with the mayor's budget and spending his money a little bit differently in spots
Yeah.
to get better results on some things.
Yeah.
Working
Well, let's-
with the department heads who
Well, let's move
he
a
asked
little,
to.
let's try moving a little ahead with John's here, and I guess we'll discuss that a little bit further after.
Hi, Sean.
Good
John, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome, thank you.
So Sean has a list here. Yeah. I was down at the plant last Friday, and he pointed out some things to me, and the boiler replacement, they're not going to cover it next year, the insurance, right?
Well,
It's-
before we go there, sorry to interrupt, do we want to start with revenue?
You want to start with revenue?
We should.
Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds good.
Of course, of course, the town
We took a
revenue
hit.
took a hit there again because of that contract.
How long is that contract in place for?
5 years.
Yeah,
Still 5 more years?
no.
Well, 5 from last year, so 4.
They didn't help us last year.
No. And, yeah, so if we could work this out to make some changes there, well, that's fine. But for right now, we have to figure out where we're at. Compared to last year's.
Okay.
So you had proposed 454 for your personnel, and the mayor took out 50
Nope, that's what we just
Yeah.
took out
Oh,
with
okay, never mind.
the new personnel.
Got it.
Doesn't seem like up to this date, a lot of money has been spent on chemicals. That seems, I think the budget last year was 55, and as of March 15th, it was 27 was spent. Are we saving money on chemicals somewhere, or do we just transfer some funds out of there?
Did we didn't transfer
No, we
anything
haven't
there.
transferred
No.
any, anything out of
Okay.
here, no.
Okay.
No, but we just got another increase.
Chemical increase,
Yeah,
again,
chlorine went up again.
again.
Again?
Again,
Of course.
The chemical increases
since Monday.
have been dramatic over the last year.
Is that tap chlorine? Is that the same stuff you're
This
using?
is liquid chlorine in ton cylinders, so when you,
Okay,
comes
so
out,
it's a different chlorine than the other chlorine?
Yes,
that's on
It
the-
is.
Okay.
used to be the cheapest way to go.
Yeah.
Used to be. Your utility, look back at that, you moved up to a request for 165. That's significantly higher for utilities, electricity. I know the rates have gone up a little bit, but that's a lot.
I actually have a budget transfer for Monday's meeting because it's now overspent.
It's over the 130,000?
Yes.
So
By
we'll
about
be,
4, so I figured a little bit higher than that
We're
too.
looking at a couple new pieces of equipment though, correct?
Well, yes, you're looking at a boiler replacement and the grid classifier replacement.
Those need to be done.
yeah.
Now, the boiler replacement, I thought that was gonna be in this year's budget. Not this coming, not the one we're looking at now. I see it's in the capital thing, but when we get there, but, I thought that was in this year's budget.
Yeah, we were talking about doing it this year, yes.
Right.
We sent out the RFPs. but
Right.
I don't know if we've heard anything yet.
I was kinda hoping to get that done in this year's budget, so it wouldn't be on next year's budget.
Right.
The RFPs?
Request for
Yeah.
proposal on
Yeah,
boiler.
yeah.
and,
For the not,
There's two other contractors that still have to come out and look. They're dragging their feet. They're gonna be out this week, though.
Okay.
Your-
that's a big increase on electric.
Well, we're gonna, if we're asking for a transfer now, we're gonna be at 160 probably
Anyway.
by the end of the year anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. One line that I was looking at, gasoline, do we think that increase is enough?
I know.
This is such a horrible
I
guess.
know. It's
It
terrible.
went down 10 cents today, we're on the right track.
That's true.
You had you had another big increase in heating too. Is that the same issue?
Yes.
Jeez. So those are, I mean, we doubled the budget from last year.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, right.
and you think that's gonna be
Our
accurate?
last couple months have been about almost $4,000.
Heating bills have gone up, electric's gone up, everything.
Can we go to candles and wicks or something? Or
Something.
Something.
And how much wax is it gonna cost?
Can we do bonfires or something?
The water purchase,
that
is that,
Ocean's gonna-
your water purchase is actually purchased from Dunkirk, correct?
Yes,
And,
the
so,
CBI.
Ian's,
CBI.
right, oh yeah, they bumped theirs up.
Yeah,
Did.
I was just gonna say.
I don't know what the rates are for what they have been.
I think they proposed it would increase.
And that line's, the water and the telephone come out of that line.
Oh, on the water, it says
Yeah,
water, it says
combined
utilities
rate.
water,
Yeah.
Okay.
and so because that's increased to $1,000 there.
We say we can walk that back if you want back to last year's.
I mean,
Rates,
currently, if you spent, you're under your budget from last year.
Yeah, by about half.
You wanna walk that back?
For the
just-
water.
Just the,
Mhm.
where it says water, by the 1,000? I mean, it's not much, but it's,
At 85?
just put it back.
put it
to-
back.
Yeah.
Put it back to
Yeah.
85. Okay, so -1.
I got overzealous there, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But there's-
Is there anything we can do?
I don't see a lot of other places we could save anything on right now, so.
2,000 out of the budget. And his capital lines. Wastewater treatment plant.
Any of these, the clarifier, the grit system, on the loaders and gaskets, on the header, what kind of shape are they in if they don't get attention in the next year? Is that gonna cause us?
It just gets worse. You're
Right.
putting air out there and then you're losing it. So the efficiency of your process is, you know, you're,
Which costs us more electric.
Which costs us more, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And some of those are going to be bonded,
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
so it's not a lump sum cost on those particularly, and those are, I mean, those are things we have to have.
You
for
need
this.
to do
I
it.
mean, we can't,
The
Yeah.
boiler replacement, the quote that we have,
that's an estimate. I
Yeah.
haven't had a,
The
you don't have
Rob,
one?
I don't have a price.
You don't have one
The
quote
R-
from anybody yet?
Not
The
yet.
RFPs aren't back yet, no.
Okay.
and.
Well, I thought we had one of, and we were just waiting for 2 more, so.
And if
We're
we,
waiting for 2 more, but the one was already out, looked at it, and I haven't had a price
And
yet.
he
So
hasn't
Okay.
replied.
I was just
yet.
wondering, I was just looking at 170 and wondering if that was enough or not enough, or,
that was a guess.
yeah,
That was a guesstimate.
yeah. No, I was just wondering if we did have one number that kind of helped us.
I mean, it would, if we bought it this year, where would it come out of? It would have to come out of his fund balance for that, or
Yes.
it would have to?
It
So
would have
it's
to.
really gonna make any difference if it's
No, one
out
way
of
or
this
another.
year's or next year's thing.
Right.
Because it's
Right.
not gonna affect our tax rate. It would only affect the sewer rates if we needed to change them, but we have enough in our fund balance anyhow.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So either way,
Yeah.
it could either remain on here or get by it this year, either way.
Right.
I think the things that he needs are warranted.
Absolutely.
I
agree.
Yeah, and
I agree
I,
100%.
Definitely.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Well, we have Rex coming down tomorrow to look at these things, and he's gonna be at the other departments as well, so he's gonna look at them too, and he'll probably give you a good assessment too as well.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sure.
That sounds good,
I
Sean.
guess that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was easy
Anything
to
else,
do.
or did you miss anything, Alyssa? On
Nope.
her- on that was his lines?
He's pretty
You guys, how do you guys feel?
I'm good with
I
it.
don't think there's anything we can do.
Yeah.
There's nothing much.
There-
That's
there-
pretty
You gotta
set.
do it.
There are some areas,
I mean, that's a system that has to
Has to
function.
be done,
It
yeah.
has to
Well,
function. It
they
has to function.
fix some of the areas with duct tape and pipe. I mean, it's like, it's sad.
Yeah.
It's pretty,
Duct tape's pretty amazing
Third-
stuff.
It is.
Well, you follow that.
I don't think it'll last 20 years, but yeah, it works for quick fix.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
good.
we're done. Thank you.
thanks, Sean.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
coming.
is your door in here too? The door that's rusting out?
Yeah.
Is
No,
that-
no, I haven't
Oh,
put anything together for the
Okay.
building envelope. See, I guess Siemens is doing
Yeah.
the lighting in that, and they're gonna
Right.
put door sweeps on the door.
oh, that's
But
ridiculous.
that's,
Well-
we're beyond that. There's a lot
Oh,
of, the
it's-
building envelope needs to be addressed too. I guess-
It won't close, the door won't close.
Right.
I mean, you talk
And the
about
filter
heat
battery.
loss.
Yeah.
Which,
You know?
I mean, you just recently, didn't we order some doors for down there?
Garage door.
Garage door.
What door is this?
Oh, no.
It's a man door. There's a lot of man doors that
Yeah.
need attention there. so-
It's horrible.
Is there isn't there
It's
some,
terrible. You can't fix it, Jim.
why not?
It's falling apart. There's a pile of rust on the floor. It's separating from the door. I mean, it's the worst. I've never seen a door so bad. Really. And it doesn't close all the way. I mean,
You gotta,
how sad is that? And
Well, that
you're-
seems like an unsafe working
It's
environment.
right,
Well,
yeah.
at least something needs to be remedied.
Something we have
something
to
we
take
need to
care
Yeah,
of.
I mean, if it's just a man doors aren't all that expensive.
yeah.
well, the frame is,
The
Well,
frame
even
is
the
bad
frame,
too.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
it's a
mean,
metal frame and that's
Right.
rotted out too.
The
So you're
whole
looking at a
thing.
couple $1,000.
Yeah,
worth.
it's a couple $1,000s out of your maintenance
Yeah.
budget. I mean,
Yeah.
But how many doors are like that?
Well, there's other doors that
There's other
aren't
ones.
far behind, you know, I mean.
well, you get the worst one,
Yeah,
you get
yeah,
to fix
start
the
with the
worst
worst
one
ones and work our way around.
in
Yeah.
your maintenance
Yeah.
budget, and you get it
Okay.
fixed. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what the problem is on that.
Well, good. I'm glad it's
Yeah.
getting fixed. That's all. I
That's-
was just concerned. I mean,
That's what you have a maintenance budget for.
okay,
So maintain it.
yes.
Okay.
You
All
can
right.
use some duct tape, right?
Thank you, John.
I appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
You're doing-
Thanks,
I-
Sean.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate all the work, you do good work down there.
Really, thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Well, we have a good crew down there, so.
You do, yeah.
And thanks for saying that.
Thank you to them.
What?
Okay, we're back on, and, okay, where are we here?
She was last year.
There was a thing on Parks that she's not,
Parks and Rec.
Oh, this thing? This is what you,
Parks.
I think
oh,
her
okay.
budget went up like
Did you, yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
$5,500 last year.
Pickleball nets.
In case you want to see that.
That was a grant.
Parks and Rec? Yeah, here it is, right there.
Parks and Rec, they have a revenue, don't they?
You have a revenue? Mm-hmm. Oh. How'd you manage that one? Yeah.
If that was recorded, I would have done something better.
Oh, from,
We're looking at a reduced revenue for, on the Parks and Rec. How do you feel about that? It's not reduced by much, but,
So I looked at it and I thought everything looked good. I had called Tom, talked everything over with him. Just like pre-COVID last year and 2 years ago. So I'm comfortable with,
2,500 in revenue
I
at
mean,
Russell
it's
Joy
lower
Park.
than, it's lower than the past.
Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood your question,
Yeah.
Your
sorry.
revenue is, it's $500 less than the previous year. I mean, as we're coming out of COVID stuff and things are starting to move forward, and you've got lots of plans, are there ways that you could increase that revenue, as I'm asking?
Well, I think that if we charged more for the pavilion rental, we could do something like that. I know that that hasn't changed in years,
Right.
How much is it now?
30.
Does the lower pavilion down behind the fire station get rented out as well?
Hamlet?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
So there's 3 different ones, Hamlet, Upper, and Lower of Russell Joy.
Okay.
And so they do vary on prices and on weekdays, like if it's a weekday versus a weekend. So I think that could be an option.
Have you already sent out contracts for those yet?
For this current year, yes. So
Yeah, so
that's
we
So
starting
you can't raise
for
it.
Yeah, so we-
next, but
yeah,
for
we have
next
to wait till
year.
next year to do that, yeah.
Well, we,
Unless there's somebody that hasn't rented
No,
yet.
you
I mean,
can't.
I
unless
feel like you would have
Yeah.
to leave it
Yeah, you can't
the
do it,
same
but-
for right
That
now.
would be, yeah.
well, we could set it as of, just set for January 1st of next year or
Yeah,
whatever.
that'd be something,
Correct, so then it would be like halfway through the
Yeah.
budget.
be something to look
Yeah.
at.
We had also talked about possibly charging for some of the rec services, like lifeguards for swimming, charging a small fee for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I talked with some of them at Fredonia,
Okay?
and I don't know that everyone like agreed on that, just because like we do pay taxes and everything. So we could talk about that. I did the survey, and a lot of people are willing to pay for like a daycare program.
Oh,
But then, so that's another option, sort of like Hanover.
That's a certified thing, though, like daycare. and-
So then, yeah, with that, like, anyone working would have to be fingerprinted, all of that. So
Right.
then it's
Background check.
$100 right now to.
and a
for-
background check, probably.
Yeah, and the police department can do that, but.
Right.
I think there's an increase in insurance on stuff like that, too. so-
Correct, everything would have to go up, so we'd have to pay
Yeah, I don't know
more.
if we want to get into that.
Yeah.
Especially like for this coming June or this coming July. That's something that we could discuss further down the road, but not for next year or for this summer.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a line here, Alyssa, it says recreation, Russell Joy, it said state budget, I see that it says $1,000. It was previously at 2,500, there's nothing in there as of now for this year. And then it says 1,000.
1, 2, 3, 9, 10,
It's under intergovernment charges. It says recreation,
Oh, there it
Russell Joy
is,
Park.
yeah.
What is that? I don't remember offhand.
I'd have to look back to
What-
see
what
what
page is
exactly
that on,
goes in
Jim?
there. The
One
revenue.
of one on revenues.
One of one. It's
what
toward the
revenues?
front.
Revenues, okay.
Yeah. Third
I can't
page.
think of what
It
is in
was
there.
at 20, it was at 2,500, then the last
We haven't
budget was
got anything.
2,000, and we didn't get anything this year.
Zip, right.
And we have a number of 1,000 in there.
I'll get back to you on that one.
Okay. There's also, for Russell Joy Park, there's a shared cost with the town of Pomfret. Is that just a that's $10,000 each we're supposed to be putting into that? Am I correct on that?
We charge them half of whatever.
I thought there was an agreement of up to $10,000.
I believe, and I brought the I emailed Allison for that as well.
Oh,
just so I
perfect.
don't know if you want to see it. I tried to make a copy, it wouldn't work. So, the lifeguards are all paid out of Pomfret. So Pomfret pays for all of our lifeguards.
Okay.
So I was looking at that too and playing around with some numbers where we could do an increase. But then I contacted, not to totally go off the subject, but I contacted local, the golf course and everything like that, where what they pay for their lifeguards, we're really not off.
Okay.
Okay.
But I just feel like if they have the certification, that should be honored more than 25 cents over minimum wage. Do you know what I mean? So still playing around with that, but we can talk about that later.
Yes, it's $10,000 on their end.
It is 10,000. Where did that line, because I don't know, where is it on here? As revenue, or is that just shared expenses in capital costs?
Yes, that's in capital.
I guess if we went to capital, there's a line for Russell Joy Park, so $47,000. That's much more than the total 20,000 if it's 10,000 feet. So
Right.
Can we determine what that's about?
Yeah, and I've reached out to Pomfret, like to come to meetings and stuff, and I haven't heard back.
No response.
So what's the 47? Why are we asking 47,000 for capital
Russell
improvements for Russell Joy? It should be no more than
10.
20.
So it should be
No,
split.
It should be
evenly.
split. So we should be paying 10, and they should be paying 10 capital improvements.
Well, they had, part of her proposal was resurfacing the basketball tennis courts for $35,000.
Yeah.
And then she had, I guess a wish list was new bleachers? Or,
Yes, and I talked to the resurfacer, and it's under that, way under. So it's only like 13,000. It's not that. I thought I sent that email.
So then we're down to like 25,000.
Correct.
Total.
So we can reduce the 47 down to 25.
It'll be under then, yes.
Do we need new bleachers? Is that for the softball
That,
field?
yeah,
or-
that was just an idea.
Yeah.
So I've also reached out with grants for that as well.
Is that softball field used very often?
One of the leagues they're using it, it's not measured correctly for like professional use
They
or
use it
an
for the
actual
T-ball.
league.
Oh,
They use it
T-ball.
for more of a teaching.
So that we,
Yeah.
if, with that in mind, can we just move that line down to our, for budgeting reasons, you would have 10,000 on our share. So it'd be 10,000, and then they would kick in their 10,000. So a total of $20,000 of capital improvements for that park, as the agreed contract. So that's gonna reduce that by
So you want to reduce it by
$37,000.
Because the original was for both courts, but basketball was totally finished.
Okay.
So we could.
So it'd be less than that because the resurfacing is not 35, it's only 13.
13,
For
but if you want-
only the basketball. Tennis pickleball was resurfaced last year.
Last year anyway.
So
Yeah.
this will come into play for this year.
Right.
But there's bleachers and some other things that she wants to be able to get, so.
Yeah, I would like to get that. They're unsafe. They need to be taken out. Like it's all rusty and someone's going to hurt themselves.
And that cost was 18,000?
Just looking online around roughly, but I have reached out, like I said, to Travis. We've been communicating about that as well.
20,
Okay.
And there's a lot of different
31,000
ways we
total
can
divided by 2,
apply for that.
so.
So the town of Pomfret will pay up to $10,000.
That's all.
Okay.
That's what they have agreed, that's what the
Yeah.
contract agrees to, unless you get something, unless they pass a resolution approving spending in their budget, which I don't know.
Their
if that-
budget's passed already,
Their
isn't it?
budget's passed already, and they didn't,
Yeah.
I know they increased our taxes, but they didn't,
Oh, they didn't say why?
well, yeah, well, that was for the stone wall at the cemetery, that,
Oh, so the
that's a whole
village
nother, that's a
people
whole
paid
nother,
for that.
that's a whole nother.
Kayla, for the bleachers, was that 12 or 18?
18.
18.
That's an 8.
It's an
They were
eight.
each 9,000,
Okay.
but that's a far fetch.
Yeah.
That was just to cover yourself.
Okay.
But working more with the grant writer, it doesn't.
Maybe if she could look for grants, and maybe she can get them that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why, if we just go back down to the original amount that we're sharing with. the
Personally,
town.
I think that's the way to go with the grant because then that can tie in more things for the park specifically.
Right.
Like it's not just the bleachers,
Gotcha.
it's extra things for the dugout, items
Would-
like that.
Would the town of Pomfret go in on it with us? Is it a shared?
It could be
You
a
know.
shared grant.
That's what I'm thinking. Maybe
But-
we'd be better
So-
having
Yeah.
applied,
right.
to.
So we're looking to go from 47 back down to 10,000 then, is that where we're at?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, that was my mistake, guys.
That's all right.
No, that's
worries.
clear.
That's not a
First
mistake,
time.
That's a good mistake.
that's why we're here, we're all figuring it out, so you're fine.
Moving in the right direction.
Okay.
It's not a mistake to ask. Or not to know, so. We're learning. Okay?
No, that's good, thank you.
That's
Is there
good.
anything else?
No.
Any other thoughts?
No, I think we're good. If you guys are good.
Was the dumpster quote similar to last year's, the fees?
Yes, it's about the same.
Okay, so nothing's gone up considerably on any of that stuff?
Really, mostly everything is about just even,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, the budget didn't
Like
change
$25, little things here or there that's not going to make or break us.
Okay.
So, I was expecting it to be worse, but
Okay. Well, thank you.
you're welcome.
Do you guys have anything else for Kayla, or are you good?
No,
No.
We're good.
Good, thank you.
We're good.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Kayla.
Kayla.
Good job, thanks.
Good
You're
job.
welcome.
Yeah.
Kayla, on the rec stuff, though, we do need to talk at some point.
Here he is.
There's one advantage of being over here.
You're hidden in the corner, huh?
And
You're hiding in the corner.
where is,
Hide in the corner.
Here it is. I had to put little stickers on mine.
Thank you for spelling out your equipment.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
there's,
very good.
I tried to make it easy. Is there any questions on any of that, on any of that equipment?
Oh, did you get, what's that? What do you get?
it's a, let's see.
He gave it all. If you need more.
So is this replacing equipment or getting new?
Some of it is new and some is being replaced. Some of the new stuff is regarding towards the portable studio setup. A couple pieces are new on that. And some of the supporting equipment also. But the new thing is the editing system, which is about 11, 13 years old, which is probably was supposed to get replaced a couple years ago, but didn't do anything. Last year we didn't get any money at all, so that was one of the major pieces last year. And then the other equipment involved in it. So this year we're trying to gear up to be able to do more productions, remote productions, and try to bring in actually more income, because if we get enough high level on YouTube, we can bring income back in. You see it all the time with people on YouTube making money. So we're trying to gear up for that. So that's one of the reasons why we're trying to. And I got a real good crew from the high school last couple of years. And I talked to them and I said, "What do you guys want to do?" And this is where we went with.
That's the editing portion that you're talking about.
That's the editing and the portable studio setup
Yeah.
side of it.
When you say revenue from YouTube, I mean, you know how many subscribers you have to have before you start receiving?
1,000 subscribers, and I think we're at 800 and some right now.
And
So we're right around the corner.
What is the revenue stream at
I don't know what the revenue would be exactly, because you don't really get information until afterwards, but it can vary from 1,000, depending on your subscriber level and how many subscribers you get. You can get up to $1,000 a week, depending on what you're producing. It depends.
So we have to make our board meetings more interesting, so the videos
Yeah,
go
there you go.
viral.
No.
Is there
And then we'll
opportunity to also edit in local sporting events, local
Yeah.
videos and all that stuff like that, and charge for breakdowns of that kind of stuff?
What do you mean?
Well, if you wanted to say the Fredonia football team wants us to broadcast the game and edit the plays out for them or something, is there a possibility?
Yeah, we could do work on a thing with them towards, if they want to highlight tape or something like that, we can work on that and give them a number or something like that. That's possible. Nothing's impossible.
And also, we can use this editing software to do village videos and.
Oh yeah, I can
our
make you
website.
guys look real funny if I want to, but I won't.
Not if you want the money.
No, editing has changed in the last
that you have?
10, 15 years. It's a lot more easier to do. Believe it or not, my daughters do editing, and she's teaching me things that I didn't know. So it's really kind of new on a lot of stuff that you can do with it to bring in different productions and try to beef up your production on stuff. Most of the time, we're doing live stream, but we're also streaming to our cable system. So we both, like right tonight, is both going to the cable system and to the YouTube site at the same time. So our revenue, as you guys keep talking about all the time, is our
Franchise fee.
franchise fee that comes in. And I think last year, I think we were 126,000?
I just sent it to Michelle
No,
earlier.
it was 112.
Okay.
112,000.
112,000, almost 113.
So I don't know, for you guys, that franchise is based on how many cable subscribers are in the system. So each person who is a cable subscriber, we get a percentage on their
payments.
bill.
Right.
11 cents, 12 cents, depending on how it is set
I
up.
pay $8.97, just
Yeah.
to let you know.
Yeah. So we actually cater to them more because they're bringing a revenue or money into us.
Okay.
So we do that. So basically, that's how we're bringing something in. And then we're looking at bringing YouTube in also, once we can get more subscribers onto it. And we increased probably about 3 to 4 subscribers a month, we gain people into it.
Now, the cable board does, or the cable company doesn't want to sign the or the new.
Oh, we have a proposal.
We have a proposed contract with the cable company.
We just
And,
got
and
that.
are they,
You just got that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we haven't seen it on
We
the
haven't
cable
looked
board
at
yet.
it. I haven't looked at it.
No.
He sent it out on
Is that the
Friday
old one?
last week to
Who did?
email,
Oh, sorry.
and I think he dropped it in the box sometime
I
this
think
week.
that's the old.
Dave?
Yeah.
Okay, I hadn't
Oh.
been checked the mail yet.
You might be reviewing the old one.
If that's an old I don't know what
I'm
contract.
not sure. I just
Who
picked that
dropped the
up before I
contract is
came
what I
in.
want to know.
I
The attorney?
I got it emailed to me, so I didn't even pick up, I didn't check it to the one that
Was
was in
it
our
Dave
box
Friedman?
today.
If Dave gave it to you, then
Yeah.
it's the one
Oh,
we've been
this is
working
the
on.
old one. This
Yeah,
is the old one.
That's the
check.
old one? Yeah, the old one
Yeah.
is totally different.
Yeah. it's-
Okay.
That's not the right
and
one.
Would that,
I don't know who gave you that one,
would
but
that affect our revenue this year if they don't?
If we don't agree?
right now, we are staying at a 7-year not signed contract.
right.
So we have the same revenue coming in as what we had 7 years ago.
David Friedman sent it over to me.
Okay,
Right.
is that the one you have printed?
No.
No.
Oh.
And it's from Mark Guglielmi.
Yeah, he's Spectrum.
He's Spectrum.
Right.
No,
So
Mark is our
He's our
attorney,
attorney for the village.
the
Oh,
contracts.
he's the
oh,
attorney.
When did
but
you get
there's
that, Dave?
a Mark though
Well, I'm
with
on the cable board,
Spectrum.
they sent it to me.
Okay, because I didn't
Oh,
get-
sorry.
No, because
No,
it just.
Mark,
it
that
just-
Mark G is
We haven't
the-
discussed
that
it.
our-
Oh, that's
attorney.
it, Mark G. Gotcha.
We're supposed to have a cable board meeting here shortly to
Many
discuss that
Marks.
contract.
Yeah.
And then bring it to you, and if we come up with an idea, then we'll come into it and bring it to you from there.
Yeah.
So
They
right
just sent it
now,
over to me to review.
but we've been dealing with that for, I'm
Long
gonna say
time.
longer, it's more than 7 years, actually, I don't remember how
Well, the
long.
one that was distributed and was dated February of 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's probably the
all right.
last one.
that's the last one, so take 10 years off, 10 years, add 10 years to that, and then that tells you how long.
Yeah.
So that was 2013,
So the new one will take effect on when this one ends.
if, once
If
you
they
sign it.
sign.
Once you sign it, we figure out
Yeah.
what we got in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went for about 2 years without even talking back and forth. And then suddenly, we started getting an attorney involved and stuff like
The
that.
old contract remains in effect until a new one is signed.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it
So-
does.
So then we should be fine with this number then, the revenue number, the 114.
Any
For
of
this
the
up-
equipment that you would like to replace, does that have any value that you could
Resell, you mean?
resell or auction or something, or is it just so
Not
old
really.
and?
Yeah, it's just like, if you're familiar with computers, when you buy a new computer, nobody really wants the old one. So that stuff is kind of, and actually, believe it or not, what I try to do with all the equipment is every piece is used right to its last possible minute.
I can vouch for that. It's really good.
If you
about
come
it.
downstairs, I'll show you some equipment that's still in operation that we bought when I started.
Exactly.
The editing system and the support equipment I have no issue with. We've talked about the portable studio. I think you need to explain that, why you want that to everybody.
Yeah, so I'll explain all in one word. Look over there.
Yeah.
That's a hodgepodge of equipment that we use not just here, but also for other events. So I have to tear that down sometimes and put that into a box and ship it out and go to another production, to a high school production or
Right.
another production. So we're looking to get something that we can have as a portable unit that's already pre-set up, ready to go, plug it in and take off. One of the major pieces is actually being able to actually run some equipment right from here and have we have fiber optic cables throughout the whole school, whole system, to the high school, to the football fields, to the middle school, all kinds of places. And we do remotes from that. That's how we do our remotes. We actually use that. We're looking at with this portable studio side is be able to have half the equipment stay here and just bring a small piece of it out to there, plug it in, fire it up, and make it a lot easier to work and do a 3-camera shoot with 3 cameras versus just 1 camera. If you watch any of the local couple of games that we've done and a couple of events we've done a lot of, we did a fantastic job in my opinion of a hockey game. We haven't done a hockey game in 20 years in my time. And we did it with 3 cameras and from the high school kids, and it came out real nice. And we used one of those cameras we pulled out of here, and we had that sitting over the seating area. We made a mount and had it over the seating area, and we had a remote camera running. And it came out real nice, and a lot of people were really cool. The scoreboard system on the bottom we use, so the people, when they tune in, they can check out the scoreboard. That's something new we've added in the last years. DNF Telephone donated that camera to us last year, and I'm working on a donation for them this year for a piece of equipment. So it's a range I have to stay within for what they want to donate. So we're looking at getting a piece of equipment from them. So
Is it possible to earn some revenue by doing this now, if we're broadcasting games, maybe recording musicals?
well,
dances,
that's
stuff like that?
what we're going to try to do is do underwriting for productions. So if we do a game, we've done underwriting before for productions, some of the Duncan Fredonia games. We've done the basketball games, the football games, and we've had underwriters, and we just put a video up, a little thing. And underwriting is why I call it underwriting. It's on advertisements, underwriting, because under public access laws, you're not allowed to produce a commercial. It's an underwriting, so it's done at the beginning, the end, or the middle, or whatever we talk. So if somebody says, I'll give you $100, and we'll take $100 and 3 segments, the beginning, the middle, and the end. And we give them a 20-second blip on that. That's how we bring revenue in.
Okay.
So we're looking at that. We've done it before.
Yeah.
We're just trying to, I've got to sit down with the cable board and come down with some kind of what cost, what we want to do, and exactly how we want to do it, so we're all on one page. Before, what we've done is just a basic stuff.
Is there a possibility to also hire out for like recording of the school musical?
Oh,
or
yeah.
dance programs or something like that?
Yeah,
with the
they,
system?
actually, one of our kids that helps out, he does that. And they've asked us before to just borrow a camera or two to do their production, because they have their own editing, they have their own studio system up there. So we let them, in regard to use a little piece of equipment to help them out a little bit.
Well, I know for the dance, like the dance recitals, which are held, I believe, in the Opera House a lot of the
Yep.
time now. If we could record those and sell them, I know they bring in outside studios to record that stuff. If we could do it in-house, that would be.
With this equipment, we would be able to do a lot more of that. That's what that's geared for, is to be able to do bigger productions and not have to, like what we did we recently did the Complete Streets that was done in the Opera House.
Right.
So we had to pull a lot of pieces of equipment over there and hook up, and it's windy. I don't think you're gonna save on that wind. No, it's just the way it is. It's a
So
ghost coming in.
having this updated equipment will just open up more.
Opportunities.
Right.
Yes, definitely. So, but yeah, you're all more than welcome to come downstairs, and I can show you some other things and what we do downstairs, because we've come from a little closet
Right.
many years ago
You're in the closet.
to downstairs, which has been
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So we're looking at doing
And
some stuff
Chip's
in-house.
always good about finding the lowest price.
Yeah.
I mean, I can vouch for that, too.
So
He's really good at looking at, the cost of everything and trying to find the cheapest one. And it's something
He
that,
puts in a lot more work than
He
people-
does.
people imagine for
right.
what he does.
especially during the pandemic.
Well, I think that,
during the pandemic.
I mean, I don't know, I don't want to say what Chip makes for a salary-wise, but we need to look at that at some point as well.
He did get an increase not too long ago.
Yeah, I did get an increase
So-
recently. So
Yes.
So now
I think he would be
now
happy
you're only
with
slightly
this.
below poverty.
as I tell the fire chief, I'm a little bit higher than him, the volunteer chief. So, but yeah, I mean, I've been here a long time, and everybody knows the capability of what we do, and
Chip's been great.
we've gone from a 1-camera shot to now a 3-camera shot, and one guy running the whole thing, which is pretty
You can see
fantastic.
and hear it.
Yeah, and here, even though everybody stays about, I'm the same way, 8 feet away from the microphone.
I'm okay with what he's proposing.
Me too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
I'm
Thank
for
you.
it. Yeah.
All right.
It's about time,
Thank
Chip.
you, Chip.
The only thing we didn't change, I didn't look at what the mayor proposed for any of the
supplies?
lines. Is the lines the same as last year?
Your supply
Yes, they're the
line
same.
is
They're
the
the same?
same, 2,000.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
All that is basically, we purchase like hard, thumb drives or stuff like that. That's all we
Right.
come out of there. Very little stuff we come out of there. So as long as we're keeping that line in there so we
The
can.
same as last year.
Yep.
What's
He's
that?
very,
It's the same as last year.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
he's very
great.
conservative.
Yep.
We appreciate it, Chip.
All right, guys.
You do a great job.
Thanks, Chip.
Thank
And I didn't get on the
you.
video. I only got the audio.
Oh, no.
Get back in your corner.
Heard that a lot in my old days.
Next year it'll be stay in the basement.
Yes, definitely. You won't see me at all.
Thank you, Chip.
Yep.
Although I don't know who's gonna come up and arrange my mic when I tap it extra.
Yes.
Before we get into any further discussions,
I do have a request for an increase in the library
We're doing well.
museum fund.
Here we are.
And
Where's these?
this,
What page is that?
it's not on a page.
Okay.
I've got a
No, I
letter.
meant the.
Oh, do you want to look at where it is right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's on,
What's the library under on this?
Page 4 of the general
page
fund.
4.
Page 4 of the general?
Thank you.
Library.
Culture.
Okay. Culture,
Did you
yes.
find it? Culture.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you, Alyssa, for the
Not a problem.
quick location.
And
The request was for 55, the mayor reduced it by 10 to
10.
what it was
Right.
last year's.
last year it was 45, right.
And they've only spent 36 of that.
No,
That- It's
No.
paid in quarterly installments, so,
All right,
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, whatever we agree on, that's what they get paid for the
Yeah.
year.
okay.
It just gets paid in quarterly. Yeah.
All right.
and they just wanted me to point out that the Barker Museum is now open. And I know when I was a trustee back in 2005, we used to give them $112,000 for the library museum. And I believe maybe it was cut back so drastically because the museum's been closed now for 10 years. But it's been open again for 2 years, but that was during COVID. So, you know, they're finally getting back online again, and they had a grand opening this past summer
What-
to celebrate the 200th birthday.
What are they asking for the money to do with it?
What do they ask? To help pay for the cost of
Operating.
Yeah,
the
general
museum.
operation. Yeah.
right.
Well, I mean, the heating, the
Salary.
electric, all that stuff should be the same, so what are we looking at?
Oh,
Adding to
what's
the cost of it.
their, do you want to know what their budget is?
No, I'm saying that the buildings, the electric, the heat, the gas, all that stuff, to run the
Right.
building is the exact same number whether it's open or not, basically. So what is the,
Right.
So what is the
You're-
extra
you're paying
60,000?
for- You're paying for a curator.
okay, so it's a curator they're looking for.
So the curator is paid, I believe he's probably up to 42 or 45,000 a year right now.
And he's looking to go to,
And they're just asking for a $10,000 increase even, you know? I mean, they're not
Over-
asking for a lot.
10,000
55
over their proposed, or 10,000 over what the mayor,
over what the mayor proposed.
okay, so they want to go back.
They
to-
want to go back to that 55,000,
Right.
even if we could do that. But just to let you know, the town of Pomfret gives them 68,000. And I know they had questioned that. The town of Pomfret said, well, that's funny, how come we give more money?
Right.
And the village owns the building and, you know, but yet they don't support, you know, it in monetary value
Well,
as
we
much
did,
as
I
they
mean,
do.
we paid for the
They
repair,
have.
we did all the repairs.
You paid
and
for the roof,
the
I
roofs,
know.
And those were
I
big,
know.
big expenses, and the
Yeah.
town doesn't pay for that.
No, it doesn't.
So-
No.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think those columns are going to have to be.
it's
they're-
horrible. There's so much more.
Yeah.
Steve Manos came through and he inspected the building, which had never been inspected. I'll share with you his report. There's so much there that needs to be fixed. There's an old windowsill where birds are flying in and nesting inside the building. It's at the front of the building. It's the upper right corner. You can see it. And all around the doorways, the wood is just rotting away. Plus, it needs to be painted too. So that's something
So,
that,
so if they want 10,000 more, we're probably looking at 100,000 in repairs to the building.
well, and that would be the village's responsibility too.
Right.
Correct, beyond the
Because-
55.
Yeah.
55 goes for the operation of the
Correct.
library
Right.
museum.
The village
okay?
separately has to still maintain the
Right,
building.
And
but
what
the
do we have to
village
maintain
still
that?
must maintain the building, which they have neglected for so many years.
Do we have anything budgeted for maintenance on that building at all?
No.
You know, it would be nice to get a prioritized list from them.
Yeah. I think
You know
we're-
what? Steve Manos wrote one up.
Oh, did he?
I could get
Okay.
that from Chuck.
I mean, if we're
Right,
looking at
to share
45
that.
plus, 50 and whatever, I don't care that Popford's paying 68, we're way above that number.
Right.
Yeah, so,
I think my preference would be to maybe keep it at 45
Right.
and then take that 10 and create a budget, start a line item for
Maintenance.
building
Repairs.
maintenance.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Obviously, that 10 isn't gonna get us very far this year, but at
No.
least we're starting to, allocate money towards it, kind of like how Chuck
So-
had started.
Right, so
There-
you
there's
would
probably
give,
some grants available, I would think, too, because that's a.
no, you can't, because
there-
the village owns the building.
Isn't there?
We can't, I had asked,
Isn't the front part of that
Justin
historical?
to, it's not on the historical register, it's in the historic district.
We should see about
Because
getting it,
Nicole and I spoke about
we
this
should see about getting it
before.
into the historical register.
The village would have to do that,
Yeah.
because they own the building.
Yeah.
Right,
We should look into that.
yeah, yeah. So you're saying like 10,000 could go for repairs on the
Well,
building?
Well, we don't
painting?
know.
We're talking,
I'm saying if we,
Is that what you mean?
if
Yeah.
basically, if we
Still stays
did
the same.
increase anything, I think at this point, we should create a separate line
A separate
item.
line.
A separate, even separate than what we pay directly to the museum to
Okay.
start kind of
Yeah. that's-
appropriating
that's not a
some
bad
money
idea.
Can I-
to maintaining that
They would
building.
appreciate that. I know any money the village could give them, any
Yeah.
more money, because, they've been struggling with, keeping the buildings up. I
Right.
mean, it's 200
we-
years old.
We have a buildings and grounds budget line.
Okay.
And, you have supplies and, what's the contract on buildings and line?
If when, they call Gugino's or whatever
so-
to make repairs. So it is for repairs.
So it is for, so you got $28,000 in supplies and contractual, so the guys to do the work. So, I mean, that's already there available.
Now,
That
that's
can
a-
be used, that's for all the buildings.
Who's that for, though?
It's for any buildings that the village owns. And that, if we own that building,
Really?
those monies are available to be worked with. So if a couple of those repairs could be done, Scott would do it through the streets department. Okay,
And we've
Scott
used,
has help, too.
Right.
I've got to say that.
we've used 40, or they budgeted 46 and we've used 35, so there's a little bit of money depending on where
so you may
goes.
not have to have
A separate, I
Yeah.
see what you're saying.
Yep.
You wouldn't do a separate fund.
So-
You would increase that if you
You would
wanted to,
increase
or
that
or
amount?
just keep it where it is, knowing that we haven't used much of it last year, and there is some available.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like what Jim's saying. I also think we should, as a village, look at getting that on the historical register. There's a lot of money available and there's a lot of history with that building.
Right.
For historical
But there's
register.
something about the village owning the building that there's some confusion about,
Well, we'll have to look into it.
if we can, I think we're gonna have to look into it.
It's worth looking into.
Yeah, oh yeah, Dave, definitely, thank
Yeah.
you, yeah. Because,
I'm
I
not-
mean, after all, we own it, and it's been neglected all these years. That's like
Yeah.
the roof there. I mean,
We finally
the
got it
walls
fixed.
were crumbling and, yeah.
Man, that's some wind out there, holy
Yeah,
smokes.
really, just like this building. I mean,
Well, fortunately, those
You
are
know.
gonna get fixed.
I know, I can't wait.
It'd be nice not to,
gonna be nice.
to not have that
Could you imagine
ringing
that?
around. Yesterday, John was opening the window because it was cold, and I thought he was trying to brace a truck because it was banging so hard, so.
I'm gonna miss the
All
sound.
right.
Okay,
Okay, is that okay then? We're all settled?
so we can put
Just keep-
10,000
no,
in there?
no.
No,
We're gonna take money,
We're leaving it as
We
it
can leave it
is.
As
it's
is.
40
and
They
then
can ask
use that
Scott-
money.
They can ask
Yeah.
Scott
For
to do.
repairs.
We'll
some
start
repairs.
looking at,
Okay.
yeah, what we can get for some
okay, well,
repairs.
thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
That's Johnny's whistling into the mic on you, Chip, I'm sorry.
Is there anything
Okay.
else? We have to go through, if anybody had any questions on
Page 1?
page 1. Yes,
Well,
that's
we'll
the
start at the
page.
beginning.
Any questions on page 1?
I don't think so.
I know you guys did some travel time this year for the trustees line. I mean, I was.
I'd like to put more money in there, actually.
2,500?
You see, I was, it's 2,500 now,
It's-
which, I mean, in the past, we had $300, $600 to 1 year, $300, and then,
So 2,500 divided by 5,
and it's, so, I mean, I don't know.
$500?
It depends on what's
Well,
planned
if you
to
look
go
at,
to.
if you look at historically, it's been
Very
under
low.
500.
Oh,
Yeah.
That under 500,
Yeah.
so I was thinking taking 2,000 out and going to
Yeah.
$500,
Yeah, and now you're at, you know,
I don't think so.
$100 a person.
No.
I mean,
That's ridiculous.
Then you're just,
Why?
I mean, if you are okay with then everybody basically footing completely their own bill if they want to do any sort of NICOM, any sort of, anything like that, then, but other than that,
You mean to tell me we'd have to pay for our own
Depends on where,
training?
depends on,
Is NICOM gonna be something every
Well,
year that we gotta go to, though, or are you gonna wanna go to?
it's available every
it's
year.
available multiple times a year.
I just
mean,
think it's
there's-
important
I mean,
to,
there's a lot of,
Go to
there's a lot of
NICOM
online
for
stuff,
that education.
but as far as the,
Yeah, online, but, you know, going to NICOM is different. You're talking to other mayors and trustees and councilmen and to, you know, share your ideas with them, to see what they're doing in their community.
what was the cost for NICOM each person, you know?
Oh, I don't remember what that was.
Probably got $2,500 eaten up by most of it, though, by the time you paid for it, plus the hotel, plus the
Yeah.
whatever.
I think
It's
the-
not cheap, I know that.
The current
Yeah.
expenses were
Right.
beyond the,
What was appropriated.
what was appropriated, yeah.
Because we didn't have another trustee though last year, that's why we
Well,
were
that's
able to
another-
do it.
Well,
Yeah.
that's right, they were low, that's where
Yeah.
the money-
Right.
that money
We were
came from,
able
a
to,
past,
right.
a vacancy in the seat.
Yeah.
And I didn't go this year, so I'd say.
I didn't go this year, not this
Right.
year. So,
I just think it's important, I mean,
I
to me.
agree, it's not, it
if
should
you
be
all
left
feel
in
you wanna
there.
go, you know, the possibility of you guys going, if everybody went, that would eat that up,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
so,
Yeah.
Then you'd be on your own dime too for some of it.
well, I've done that before, for a lot of things,
Uh-huh.
so.
Yep.
I think it'd be nice to leave enough in if we all wanted to go to one a
Yeah,
year.
that's what I was thinking,
Well,
John.
and some of those online courses, they charge $50 or $75 to get into them too, so.
You're going to pay something for that
Yeah.
too,
I
right?
mean, yeah, there's,
What,
All right, so we'll leave that
Yeah.
for now.
Yeah.
Anything
what,
else on?
2,500 you're gonna leave?
Leaving
Yeah.
2,500.
yeah.
Which is 2,200 more than was budgeted
Last
last
year.
year, so.
I know, but it costs more than that.
Well, if we have to
For
move money
three of
over
us to
to
go.
it, we can always figure it out from somewhere else if we had to, just like
Okay.
this year, so.
Village clerk supplies, I looked at, I thought they were up from what was budgeted, but for the previous year, but below, quite a bit below the proposed amount.
I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
Barely.
I heard you, yeah. Supply,
The supply line?
Supply line.
supply line.
Supply line, it's 7,000.
It's 7,000, but it's, You probably can't hear anything on the screen, right?
Nothing but wind.
Well, the village justice supplies is up 2,000 more than what they've spent this year as well.
Yes. I don't know, so can we take some of that?
I'd cut 1,000 off of each of them,
1,000 off of the village clerk supplies?
and 1,000 off the village justice supplies.
Where's that? Oh,
Did you find it?
I mean,
this one, and this one.
it looks like we could cut a little bit off Alyssa's treasurer supplies there too, but she'd be better able to answer that.
Yeah, I'm sure I can lose another 1,000.
Another 1,000 out of that. And, wow.
Wow, yeah.
What's this, the village clerk contractual? That is significantly up, but that's up 2,000 more. Well, yeah, about 2,000 more than what was being spent, and 2,000 above what was budgeted the previous year.
I think we did that in preparation of new copiers.
I thought
The new copy machine.
Oh,
Oh,
because
for
it's gonna
the-
be
the contract.
Under
It's a
contract.
contract,
Yeah.
right.
like.
We're
our
not
booth.
sure how much it is yet.
Okay.
We should
It
look at
it shouldn't
the,
be $2,000 a year more, though.
we should actually look at the cost of leasing a machine as opposed to purchasing a machine.
Yes, we were actually
That's
looking
what
at
it
both.
says.
They're
Yeah.
leasing. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
'cause
what the
it's-
contractual line would include,
Is
Yeah.
purchasing it outright?
would be
Leasing it.
leasing.
Leasing
Well, I'm
is-
saying we,
Oh, you want to lease it, because if something
We're
goes
looking at
wrong
both.
with it.
We are running both
Yeah.
options, so.
okay.
But, I mean, $5,000 a year for a lease on a printer is an awful lot of money. I mean, it's, can you think that that's a possibility on that? Is it gonna be
There's
that much?
other things in there, and I'd have to print out the detail.
Because it's $2,000 more than last year's budget, and you haven't reached that yet, so,
Oh, I see.
in the village clerk.
Yeah.
And even with that consideration, I think that would be kind of unwelcome to go to pay for a printer that costs $2,000 more this year than last year.
I'm not in disagreement on that. Seems awful high on the cost of a lease, but I don't know what else, she's got in there
Right.
on top of that.
Yeah, can you just check what's, and let us know on that?
Yeah, I think that's the route, is just to find out for sure what's covered under that before we make a cut on it.
Sure.
I mean, I know it'd be nice to have it done tonight, but, I mean, final adjustments can be made later. Of course, we all gotta talk about the law department there, which is broken down to other departments also. It's not just this line,
Yep.
I think,
and
I would recommend we look at making a change.
I don't think we have a choice.
Yeah.
I think that the expense is just so high.
Especially now that the contract is negotiated.
And the contracts have been negotiated.
Yeah,
and
I think we're in a
Okay,
good
I mean,
spot.
I think this would be the time.
Here's the question though, and I'm not saying not to do it, but now that that's negotiated, do we think that number's gonna go down considerably?
Well, that is a separate line. The negotiating cost is separate from the contractual cost, but the contractual costs are exorbitant because it's a hourly fee.
Yeah.
So they're billing you for every 10 minutes. If you make a phone call, if you do anything, they bill you.
Yeah.
And I think there was some unreasonable use last year, I could say that. But
I would have-
and would we have unreasonable use? I would hope not.
I mean,
It's a new board, essentially. But I still don't think that we're going to stay within the range of what we can afford.
Yeah.
And now the mayor has set in this line. Does he have it broken out into other lines too?
There's 20,000 in both other funds, I believe.
So another 40,000 on top of that 95?
Yep, 20 in each.
So
So-
I'm correct in my assumption that there's no contract with them, right?
Well, there is, but
There
it's.
is,
but we
I
could
believe
think
it's
that
expired
expires.
anyways.
in May 31st?
And I'm pretty sure that they said we could stop at any
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, there was a
Yeah.
clause in there
Yeah.
that said that if we couldn't afford to move, that
Yeah.
we could stop at any time.
Yeah, okay.
And,
That's good.
and so we're looking at, so 40,000, I mean, yeah, I mean, you're looking at
We can always ask them.
135,000, which is
Yeah.
way more than we've ever spent
Yeah.
before, including
Right.
contractual negotiations.
We can always ask them to renegotiate their rate as well, so, you know, we
Well,
give
they,
them a
no,
chance.
no,
No.
no.
They won't do that.
They don't
Their firm's
negotiate
rate is
their
what
They're
their
not like
firm's
that.
rate is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They don't negotiate the
Right,
rate, David.
no.
They have a billable hours for each each attorney gets a certain rate.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Right.
And you get billed per hour.
Well, it would be
We're-
nice to have a local attorney in the
We're gonna
position
have to,
if
we're
we
gonna
can
have
find one.
to look at advertising for.
An attorney.
An attorney that would be on salary like we had before.
Right.
That we can afford, and the whole cost should be under $100,000.
Well, I think according to the FOIL was like 65 or so is what they,
68?
somewhere around there. It was under
Yeah, I think it was
70.
under 70.
around
It was under
65,
70.
68,
Yeah.
prior.
Yes.
Was lower than that.
It may be necessary depending on how much work we feel we need to have done, although the contracts are all completed. Those will be good for a while now. But I mean, and what do we expect out of them? To what level of work would they be doing? Because some previous attorneys used to hire, find another attorney to do court cases, certain court cases and things like that. But otherwise, for all the legal questions of the operations of the village and looking over contracts and stuff, that would all be included in the salary.
Yeah.
And that, in my opinion, that saved money before, and it would save money again.
Right.
So I think we could stay well below just the 95 and eliminate those 220, those another $40,000 out of there by doing that.
Wow.
And I think we should step on it right away.
Yeah. I think to be safe, just to cover us until
That happens.
that happens, we should maybe budget just this 95.
Right.
And then
And then,
in anticipation
So-
that we're going to spend
But not the other 40?
Not the other 40.
Not the other 40.
Yeah.
You still have to have something in the other funds, because if it has to do with the other fund, then it
Can we
has to go in
Can we
that
split
fund.
that 95 then into
Sure.
the three
Absolutely.
funds?
Yeah.
Okay.
oh,
Definitely.
okay.
Well, we'd still have to leave some of that in the fund for the 95 though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you split.
It'll-
So
You
you
split
we'll
go
take that-
so you go 60 and
Or
split
she'll-
up
So
the rest.
are we
She'll figure it
okay
out.
with reducing water and sewer to 10 and then the rest in general?
Yeah.
Because not as much is done, especially now that the contracts are done.
Correct.
Yeah, that
So
makes
put
sense.
10 and the rest in general.
Okay.
Okay.
That sounds good. I mean, for now, anyhow, we might, if we're lucky, we'll get it lower, but at least it gives us an idea
Yeah.
that will be covered, and that puts a big dent in our expenses. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Yep.
No, that sounds good.
It was absolutely necessary,
Oh, definitely.
And it's a good time to do it.
Yeah.
That's
It's
right.
just- Yeah.
okay.
I don't fault them
No.
paying
No,
what we paid in the last
I
couple of
know.
years because we got a lot done with the contracts and negotiations, but
But we're gonna,
I think
Now's the time,
Melanie
yeah.
did a great job
Yeah.
when she came to our meetings.
we just
too,
cannot
so-
afford it, is all.
Yeah.
But
It
it's
comes down,
just-
I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Right.
Yeah.
So is there anything else before we get into other things?
The
You wanna take-
infamous dog
Can
control.
we take a break?
She wants to take a short break,
Sure.
a
Is that
bathroom
okay?
break.
Sure.
Sure.
Can we do that? Is that
I
okay,
could
Chip?
use one.
Short break, intermission. Thank you.
7
done your, you've served your sentence, we'll just put it that way.
You probably will understand the budget less than we came in with. Appreciate it.
You too.
Thank you very much.
Good to meet you.
Fredonia State?
No, Fredonia High School.
Fredonia High School,
Yeah,
really?
senior. Are you Dawson's dad?
I'm Dawson's dad, yeah.
Hey, you look familiar.
Yep.
You too.
What's your name?
Evan McCall.
Yeah, you used to play base, I remember you playing baseball. All right,
Baseball with travel ball.
yeah, yep. What are your plans next year, do you know yet?
I plan on going to the Air, well, after the summer, I'm working at the Boys and Girls Club. I plan on enrolling in the Air Force.
Nice.
So I wanted to.
Oh,
yeah.
good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnson,
Great. It's a great choice.
Johnson Air Forceman.
No, I'm a
Were
Navy
you-
guy.
Oh, you're a Navy guy?
I'm a Navy guy. Doesn't matter.
Or Army.
Either or. Either or.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good night. You too.
All right, I guess I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I didn't realize, I haven't seen him in, thanks, Devin McCall. Oh, yeah. He used to play baseball with my son back like 6 years ago. I haven't seen him in that forever.
You got a lot more to go through there. There's a lot more.
Not too horrible. We have to get the admin stuff on the other two funds, and that's about it. I don't know, I don't know if they wanna look at anything else, but.
That would be awesome.
What's it?
Happiness quote.
We're not on speaker
Well-
yet, are we?
No, we're still on intermission.
From a 1 to a 10.
No, you're not. That's why I said no.
Thank you.
Are we on TV then?
Are you ready?
No.
No.
We're not on
Alyssa's
TV, we're not on
Alyssa's
voice.
finishing up,
Wait.
I
Alyssa's-
had it, and I can't find where I wrote it. It's weird.
and, going into the administration of the water purification area.
Okay.
The mayor's budget had 91,151. total. I was wondering if we could take,
Oh, the 7,
what's that?
where are you at?
It says water administration for the
The personnel?
Personnel,
Personnel.
79,151.
yeah, that's the top, that's the
Yeah.
first line, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was
91.
looking at the total at the
Yeah.
bottom.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
What's the 18 in
Under the
parentheses
brown.
there?
So the mayor proposed having an administrator and then he took it out, but I never subtracted it from the water or the sewer. So that's what that is.
Okay.
Oh,
What's that, though?
The 18,836.
administrator. yeah.
So we're actually at
63.15.
63.15. And we had 65 last year, so we actually went down 5 on the proposal. Those numbers all look good to me. I don't see a cut in them.
The,
Well, he went down, the trustee adjustment.
he went down.
Which line are you looking at? 1,000?
Yeah. Can we take $1,000 out of the supply line, maybe?
Sure.
You think so?
I think we can, yeah,
All right, let's take 1,000 out of the supply line there.
okay.
All right, I guess that's it on there, right? I mean, you guys don't
Yeah.
see any other reason to move
Not-
anything?
not really.
So let's go to the, sorry. Sanitation, sewage treatment plant, yeah, sanitary sewers administration, is that the
In
one?
that, I know you can take out about 1,500 in contractual for sure.
Where is that one? Sanitation ministry.
1,500 in
Sewer
contractual?
Sewer fund, it says at the top left.
Okay, yep, got it.
So we could take out
I would
sure?
safely even say 2,000, yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Out of the,
2,000?
off of what?
Contractual.
Contractual?
First, yeah, the admin.
And can we take out 2,888 out of the, or did we already?
We already did.
Oh, we already did that one, I'm sorry. Yeah, we already hit that with
The
overtime.
supplies, could we cut on that?
Sure.
How much?
I mean, we'll work with what we have, so.
Oh, how,
I would feel comfortable taking it down to 5,000, taking 1,000 off that as well.
Okay.
taking it,
They've only spent 3,000, so that still gives them,
Oh, yeah.
now where would anybody like to go?
well, if we could go, everything else has been covered, right? I wanted to talk just a bit again about there was a big discussion with the fire department about the purchase of the truck. We're looking at a 20-year bond on an estimated $1.6 million for that truck. They estimated repair costs at they were claiming a quarter of their maintenance budget, which would be $10,000 last year. I can't imagine it's gonna be $10,000 every year to repair that truck, but even if we took one, you said the payment would be $102,000? One payment, if we took one payment, and for the 1 year, and had a rehab done on that truck, sent it out for an overhaul, spent $100,000. That's 29 years, you're not gonna be spending $102,000. Now, for 20 years, how old is that vehicle, did he say? Do you remember how old that is?
2001,
So
so it's 22 years.
So it's 22 years old. So, I mean, and how long haven't we had a payment on it? I mean, the the truck we're gonna be spending $1.6 million on is gonna be obsolete before, and it's, before the payments are due. And we're also, you guarantee you that once the warranty is off, is a lot less than 20 years, you're gonna have a payment of $102,000 plus maintenance, So I don't think that this truck has quite lived its expectancy for us. I think we should look at doing as much complete maintenance and repair as a professional, not a mechanic, not a fireman. Look at that and have them go over it and put either the annual amount of a reasonable amount of repairs annually, which would be far less than $102,000 a year, or which would maybe $10,000 a year out of their maintenance, which we already have set, or send it out to the factory that does rehabs on those and get it rehabbed to essentially like new condition for a very minimal amount of money. And then we've got a great piece of equipment. But that's what they're going to do if you trade it in anyhow. They're going to rehab it and they're going to sell it to somebody else and say, what a wonderful piece of equipment I have, and I got it for a fraction of the price. So,
You know, I guess I don't have a problem with that line of thought. I would like to know what a rehab would cost.
Sure.
And I would like the rehabber, or whoever looks at it, to give us a knowledgeable estimate of, after the rehab is done, what use we can expect from it.
I guess the other issue is timeline. How long would it take to rehab it, and when they could get it in to do it?
well, even if it took 6 months or longer, the fire department did say that Dunkirk is a backup to us as we are to them. They have equipment that could do the same thing that ours does now. So in need, while ours is being repaired or rehabbed, even if that would happen the same as any general breakdown for any of our equipment. We have an agreement with Dunkirk, and the same with us. So if something should happen during that rehab time, we're covered. So I would expect, just figure out time that we're going to have it down, send it out to be rebuilt.
Is the rehab something we can bond out,
Depending on the cost.
depending on the cost? So if it ended up being $300,000, we could bond that out.
Yeah.
So I'm as much as I'd like to get them a new truck, I think we need to look at the other option as well.
Right.
I would like to look at the option before we made a decision, yeah.
I do think, though, that this needs to stay in the budget, just because then if we're told, no, this isn't, this is not worth it, and I have to think that the department heads and the people in charge of, maintaining this truck, have at least put some thought into, what the options are.
The cost is only gonna go up too, I think.
Well, that's for everything, but you keep it once again. I know. But keeping that in mind, you're gonna be paying interest also, it's included in that cost. We're not paying any interest on this, and we're not, and the interest on, even if it was $300,000 to rehab it, would be far less than 1.6.
I'm on your board of thinking, but I do believe she's correct that we need to keep it in the budget as a possibility. Doesn't mean we have to spend it. Because if they tell us no, then it's a whole nother year that we've got a problem and we're not buying a truck.
I think the problem with rehabbing it right now, so the problem with waiting for a new truck, if we go that route, is that it's going to take at least 18 to 24 months to get here.
Right.
Okay, that's in good time. Now we're talking about COVID time. Now we're talking about waiting even longer because these pieces aren't available. But we still have our truck. You talk about a rehab that might take 6 months, maybe 9 months. We really have no idea because we don't do that. But now we're talking about that's in good time. All right, so that's time without a truck.
Yeah, well, I know that, but Well,
So
like I said, we
if
do
we
have
get
backup.
to a year, year and a half, that's now probably gonna affect our ratings, insurance rates?
No, I mean, you
Because
still-
we
you
do not have that piece of equipment. It doesn't
That-
matter that Dunkirk has it.
That- yeah,
We
but
do
that
not have
won't-
the
That's
piece
not
of
gonna
equipment.
affect your insurance rating. I mean, you own the vehicle, it's being updated. If they're not gonna, reduce your insurance rating because you, having a piece of equipment maintained.
That's a little bit beyond maintained, though. I mean, if it's completely,
Well, I
if
think
it's
before you
not
make,
even
I think before you make that
present
assumption, you would ask the insurance company first.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're making the
Yeah.
assumption of something that I don't believe is true.
I'm
How
just saying
about-
that would be a concern
I
that I
think,
would
but
have.
I think we're right on both fronts. We need to leave it in there, but we need to look at this option to see what truly it's gonna, if it's a possibility. There's no harm in leaving it in there. That doesn't mean we have to purchase it.
Right.
Okay.
And if it's in there, and we're gonna, if we choose to rehab it, we'll have more than enough money to do that. We won't have to, right? If it's 250,000, then we're not using the entire
Okay.
amount.
Right, no, that's true.
Right.
I just wanted
Yeah.
to go over that with you because when I started balancing it out, it just seemed like an exorbitant amount of money based on what we have available and what would be reasonable to pay for something when there's a better option. So that was, I wanted to bring it forward to all of you for your thoughts as we move forward.
I also think we ought to look into Nicole's concern, just to be sure,
Right.
just to
Well,
cover
you
all
can
our
look at
bases
the
because
insurance,
yeah,
and they ask,
yeah,
I mean, what
Yeah.
no harm in that's what
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
you should do.
yep.
Yeah. I think everybody's right, and we just need to explore a little bit more, but we need to keep it there.
Okay, that's what I appreciate. That's
Yep.
what we, that's
Yeah,
a little more thought into it is what I'm
Yeah.
looking for.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
And at least this way, if we're leaving it in there, then that gives the fire department kind of the go-ahead to, go ahead, spec out your truck,
Right.
come up with
Right.
what you want to order, and then
We can
probably,
look at
because
that.
they're saying that their order would be placed early 2023. By that time, we'll know rehab versus purchase. Their purchase is ready to go, if that's where we have to go.
We'll have the numbers.
The rehab
Yeah.
is
Exactly.
then good to go if
And
we
then one
have.
other thing,
Yeah.
with the fire department, I still have concerns with hiring 2 employees and the long-term costs that has. I understand that what their statement was on trying to have more coverage and reduce overtime and having return on, wow, that's loud, having return on getting a return from the, having more people available to get transports and things, so return on, from the insurance companies. But that formula the same formula didn't work for the county with the fly car system, which we're now having a massive deficit due to their formula. We're not in the business of taking care of the entire county. We're in the business of taking care of the village and the town. And the town is not, first of all, doesn't have, in the contract, doesn't have a paragraph to cover those added employees, their share of them. And we can't be guaranteed any kind of return from insurance on something, just like the county didn't get guaranteed a return on theirs. So I don't believe that we will get a return significantly enough to cover that at least $150 or more $1,000 for 2 employees starting out pay. So if there's a way that even if seeing how we're paying for the county to have coverage anyhow, is there a way that the new chief, when he comes in, can work as this collaborative effort that the county keeps talking about to help us, assist us with our coverage during times when we could not have to have those 2 employees? Would that be a possibility? And you know what I'm saying? So get that coverage from the source that they established. They would go on collaborative efforts, and we're paying for it, even though we haven't been using it. But maybe we could use it, and if the new chief could figure something like that out,
Then we're spending money with no option. So
Right.
for that,
but we are
so-
already. No.
But for that to work, what would happen? So the way that it works out now is Fredonia will respond to an emergency when they're planning not to transport, the commercial agency is coming to transport. So the Fredonia personnel shows up on scene,
Right.
does an initial assessment, okays the patient, the commercial service shows up, they load the patient up, and they go. Fredonia person takes the truck and goes back to the station. Now, if you're relying on the county fly car instead, now you have one person from Fredonia in an ambulance and one person in an SUV from the county. So now, who's going to take care of the patient? Who's going to drive?
The village would always take precedence over on that.
So now you're going to have somebody, now you're going to have a county employee driving village equipment.
No.
Well, who else is going to drive?
Here's my issue, and here's my issue, and I'm just gonna put
So
this out
that,
there.
that just wouldn't.
We're already below the minimum staffing, and on the weekends,
Right.
we're terribly below the minimum staffing.
Well, actually, in that case, if it's on in an off hours where we didn't have full coverage to do that, the county would then transport, and that be
The
it.
county cannot transport, they don't have an ambulance.
Oh,
They're a fly car.
Oh, I beg to differ. That's what they're spending all this money on. They now have ambulance. They're now going into the transport business.
At this point, though, that's
And
not,
it's delaying service. By the time they get to the resident, it's delayed the service. Fire and police, to me, is something that we can't skimp on when we're looking at it.
For all these years, we've had more employees than we've ever had.
We've had more volunteers, though, in the past than we have now. And we've had more volunteers in the past showing up to scenes than we do now. I mean, if you look at, and I don't, Dunkirk's a city, but they've got 10 times the firemen that we do. And they're not, population-wise,
And much bigger, yeah.
much bigger.
Right.
We are understaffed. And down the road, if somebody gets hurt or if something, one of these guys, God forbid, has to go out for 6 months. What are we doing? Who's filling that spot?
Like I said, I see. You guys seem to be all on the same thought process here, but
I understand
I'm looking
what
at
you're
the cost
thinking, but-
factor, and that essentially we're being double dipped on in order to pay for some other areas
Yeah,
of the
if it was-
county.
If it was a county dog catcher showing up and being able to get there 3 hours later, that's
I
one
know what
thing.
you're saying, but
I agree that you're right, that we are being double dipped, but I don't think that we should not take it out, but it shouldn't affect how we
budget.
view
How we do
our
ours.
ambulances.
How we-
Yeah.
yes.
And-
let,
and-
let them figure taking it out, reduce theirs and not at their
Yeah.
cost.
That's
So
a
take
co-
the complaint to the county.
That's a county problem.
In an emergency,
Yeah.
in an emergency service, I would
Okay.
rather have it be a
I'm-
local.
I wanted to talk it out because this is a elephant in the room on this
Yeah.
costs, and it's
I-
been widely presented in the news, how massive deficit in the county's budget that's put upon all of us that we don't get to use. It's sort of like a taxation without representation. So we.
I mean, but the service is there if we need it.
If you looked at that article, and I looked at it online, every comment underneath it says, "I don't care if it's running a deficit. This is more important to have grandma safe if we need it than what it's costing to run it." And that's kind of the way I feel about our fire department. If we're responding in 3 minutes as opposed to the fly car in 30.
I'd
That-
rather have instant coverage than waiting for someone else to respond.
Our department does a wonderful job of
I know they do.
coverage, I have to
So we
say.
should.
And they're working a lot more hours than they're supposed to right now.
Right, yeah.
And I think with the extra personnel, I think it will, with the new fire chief.
Our response time is amazingly good, I have to say that. It's
Yeah.
incredibly good.
And I would
Right.
like to give the new fire chief every opportunity to be as successful as he can, and I think that the two additional personnel. will-
Okay.
And it'll relieve stress
That's it.
on the guys that are there too.
don't-
It's gonna keep our
Yeah.
employees
We don't-
happier, maybe longevity-wise, here more.
That's good, that's a good discussion, thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
I don't need to,
And thank you for your concern. I'm understanding what you're trying to just make sure everybody's thinking on, so.
one more area. Our water and sewer rates. Water rates specifically is, I've talked about this before. We have contracts that we sell water outside the village, and as you can see in our budget, we've taken some massive hits this year on our water sales. And it always has been my belief that those rates that were given in those contracts were actually below what the effective rate. Wow, I hope they can hear. Below the rate that the village residents pay, even with their 15% increase that we supposedly put on top of the rate, because it's sold to them at $4.80 per thousand plus the 15%. And but in order to have a profit margin, and New York State does state that a community who has the ability to sell services, in this instance water, has the responsibility to collect a reasonable rate of return. And I don't believe that the village is getting actually a reasonable rate of return at this point. At some time in the past, there was an established base fee put on to the each resident or each meter, and it was $25 for the each water meter, and for the service of waste disposal or the sewer, it was $20, and and that's added. That's in there first before you even use any gallons of water, meaning that the person who used, say, 10,000 gallons of water per quarter, it actually pays $7.30 per thousand. If you look at the chart that I've given you. I mean, if you only use 1,000, you're paying $29.80 for that 1,000. Okay? An average household, my understanding, an average household uses about $17,000 per quarter, but
17,000
Gallons?
17,000 gallons per.
Okay.
Yeah, what did I say?
Yes.
$17,000.
That's a lot of money per.
So I was like, wow, our revenue should be way up.
That's a lot of water, too.
17,000 gallons per.
Where?
Orchard, Stratton,
Oh no.
Eagle Street.
Orchard and Eagle.
Orchard and Eagle?
Yep. They're running out now.
Okay. And so anyhow, the breaking point is actually at 27,000 gallons. An average household doesn't use that in a quarter. Okay, $27,000. That's where it evens out at. If a person was approximately 28,000, so where the rate would, including the $25, would be paying about $5.75 per thousand gallons. Okay, I would propose that eliminating that, because as you can see on the chart, anybody below 27,000 gallons would actually have a savings each month. Okay. Of course, if you used above 27,000 gallons, there would be a slight increase, but it's not terribly significant, okay? And what this chart does show you that it balances out. We would still get our revenues essentially the same, right, for the village use throughout the village. But then we would then base our contracts on the actual cost of services. You need to have 100% cost recovery. That's the only way you could, with 100% cost recovery of what it costs you to provide that service. That's the only way you could have a profit margin of sale. Okay, and that was established also by New York State. I'm sorry, it's getting very loud out there.
Let's just hold the meeting for a second. Just let him.
So,
I'm gonna end this meeting for me. We got a full.
Yeah, go.
No, go.